held on August Bylaw and Regulations. My name is Karen Latin, and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast live on Xfinity Channel 1072 and is being recorded on the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It is being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. The agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of documents for review are posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you've been recognized by the chair. When recognized, please identify yourself for the record. If you're attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by using *6. If you are online and you are not a commissioner, please keep your camera turned off unless you've been recognized, and indicate that you wish to speak by using the raised hand feature. So that we have a record of a quorum, I will now ask each commissioner to indicate their presence. Vice Chair Paul Johnson, who I believe is on remotely.
Present.
Okay. Elise Gordon.
Present.
Janet Williams.
Present.
Eric Hilbert.
Present.
Bob Del Vecchio. And
Present.
I'm here. So we have established we have a quorum. Before we begin the agenda, I do have one thing that I would like to bring up as an announcement, as a possibility for future consideration by the commission. Right now, I want you to know, I've been talking with our department and Greg Berman about how we can control our meetings and the amount that we hear in a meeting, and make sure that applications are complete before they're even scheduled. To that end, one of the things we're doing is I'm meeting with Crystal next week to set up a true checklist of what we need, which we will then go over with you all for approval. And after that, we are going to have to look at our regulations and determine what our interpretation of minimum requirements is. Because in our regs, it says that an application is considered complete after fulfilling the minimum requirements. Nowhere does it spell what those are. I also would like us to think about how this came up when I was going through the 2017 minutes to add them in, properties into our spreadsheet for which properties have been heard when. At one point, they discussed how long a notice of intent or any application can remain open with us and continue to be continued. And we have some that have been, from 2024 recently or are coming up. And so I thought it might be a good idea if we started to think about that and what we can do. I am also going to put it out on a listserv for commissioners in Massachusetts to find out what they are doing, if anything, for this. It just, once an application has not been heard for so long, it's like getting it all over again because we don't remember. So anyway, those are two things that are coming up and that will be on future agendas, just so everybody knows. So Bradford, are there any announcements for continuances today?
Yes, there are two continuances today. 784 Orleans Road, Town of Chatham, map 11J, parcel 66,
You
SE.
need to turn on your.
Do you have your mic on?
It is on.
Oh, okay.
you hear
That's
me?
fine.
Okay. SE 10 3729, enlargement of boat and trailer park within land subject to coastal storm flowage, relocate historic communication tower within buffer zone to coastal bank. They requested a continuance to September 24th, 2025.
Okay, and are there any others? I think 20L Street?
Yes. 20 L Street, Karen Los Coco, map 10F, parcel 9R9, SE 103730, remove and replace pond access stairs. The applicant requested continuance to September 10th, 2025.
Great, thank you. At this point, Bradford, our Assistant Conservation Agent, will now lead us through the agenda, and there has been a modification to the agenda. We are going to hear 0 Cedar Street first, so that those involved with that can go off and go to other meetings.
Are we doing that before the orders?
Yes, we'll just do it right now.
Sounds good. So up first is 0 Cedar Street Pump Station Design, Town of Chatham, map 12B, parcel 11, SE 103751, construction of a new wastewater pump station.
Great, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rob Faley, Director of Public Works. With me is Jeff Gregg, GHD, our design consultants for wastewater.
Good afternoon.
Aye.
So I'll leave it to Jeff to.
You threw him in.
Thanks for the introduction. So we are submitting on a proposed pumping station for what is now numbered, I think, 240.
240, correct.
Cedar Street. It was 0 when we filed originally, and then they assigned a property number to it, so for reference. So we are proposing a new pumping station. It is located on town property. It is within the wetland, so not only within the buffer zone, but the majority of the work is in the wetland. It consists of a new pumping station, which would be a fiberglass enclosure similar to those that we have at Meadowview or George Ryder. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones.
Queen Anne Pump Station.
Queen Anne Pumping Station. It will have a exterior generator. It will have control panels outside. It will have exterior lighting. There will be a fence around the entire station site. There's a retaining wall that's required for us to adjust grade because grade drops off from the roadway. And we have to be a certain distance back from the overhead wires and things for them to actually construct the wet well. And let's see, what other features do we have here? So we will have underground electrical that will go to our control panels, which are along this back corner. The property is a triangular shaped property. And the wetland boundary is pretty much runs right along this edge. We are going to have the wet well, the pumping station, the generator, a retaining wall on the back side. We have a privacy fence that runs on this side, along the front, and up this edge. And we're going to transition to chain link from basically this corner back. We could make this all privacy fence, but in the interest of cost and trees and things like that we have, there's no one really that's going to be seeing it from the wetland side. We call for porous pavers as the walking surface for access, and the driveway has porous pavers. And then we're using what we're calling grass pavers, which is like a PVC type embedded in the ground. So this will actually look like grass or lawn that you can drive on and park on, but it won't have the same kind of concrete lattice work look the rest of the porous pavers. But it's, again, we're trying to minimize impervious surfaces. We are going to have a small paved apron just coming off of the road. And then the town is proposing to do stormwater improvements on Cedar Street because of the location of where this is, to try to pick up some drainage upgrading on either side, because we are at the bottom. There's very limited stormwater work that we're going to be able to do. We're calling for a deep sump catch basin, basically to catch sediment, and then it'll have a flared out fall that goes to the wetlands. Right now, water just basically goes off the edge of the road and then goes into the wetlands on either side. We are calling for, because there's a large number of trees that we have to remove as part of the work in the wetland, we're also proposing a large number of trees throughout the wetland, and then various plantings depending on, we have to have some lower plantings in the front because we're underneath power lines, so we don't want the trees to grow up and then have to be cut down. Am I missing any? I think those are all
you've covered it all.
those are all the main points.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody want to start with the questions? Janet?
Yeah, I'll start because I have some sort of foundational orientation kinds of questions.
Yep.
Trying to understand this site. So the site itself is 8,011 square feet. That's the entire area of that triangle.
Yes.
So the wetland line runs along just behind the street and then turns to the, I guess it's the west. But there's no other line, so I assume that everything is, how much of the 8,000 square feet would you say is, or percentages, is the wetland itself?
Of the proper, well, so I don't have the number relative to the entire wetland because it goes
way beyond.
Because it goes way
Of
beyond.
the 8,000,
But I believe we were, our permanent disturbance, I think, was somewhere around 1,500 square feet.
1764.
Or seven, there we go, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize, I don't have the
Yeah,
number off
no,
the
it took a while to try to ferret some, that's why I want to double check these figures.
Yep, and then the disturbance area, I think, got up to, it was under 4,000 square, it was like 33,000, I don't know, I have the numbers if you
That
like.
includes, that's the temporary plus.
Yes, so we're gonna be disturbing up to this, basically this dotted line, with
Okay.
some protection of trees that are existing based on there's another site plan that kind of shows the existing conditions, and so there are some trees that we're going to try to preserve that are along the outer edge, but there's a large number of them that are,
Yeah, this is the one I was looking at. So all the trees.
So all the
within
trees
limit
in
of
this-
work Are coming out?
so all the trees within this dark line
Mm-hmm.
over to here will come out. There's a few that we are trying to protect that are along the edge, depending on their condition. Some of them are dead. I think we've identified, there are some existing dead trees. There are some that are various different species. I apologize, I don't have I should probably get my reading glasses.
And I'm sorry if I missed it, and it's in the 400 and.
Yeah, I know, it's a
pages.
big,
Is there an inventory or a listing of what those trees are?
Yes.
That are coming out by species and size and?
yep, so I
Is that
believe
the-
they're all, I believe, let me just look at my plan. I believe that there's a count of both all the existing and their size were identified.
Okay, so under legend at the bottom of that, so 2 pitch pines, 26 maples, 8 white cedars, that's what's coming
Yep,
out?
Yep.
And 4
dead
dead,
trees, yep, and
dead
then,
somethings. Okay.
Well, so those
Oh,
are
I see, existing
and then
removed, okay.
removed, we're removing, so of some of, so
Wow.
we're trying to keep about 5 of the maples, and it looks like 3 of the white cedars.
So that's 28 coming out.
And that's not for the whole site, that's just in the impacted
That's
area.
in that impact
Just
zone.
in that impacted area.
So what is the status of the trees outside that area?
We're not touching anything outside of our proposed limit of work. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so anything outside that dark line is going to be protected, is that?
If you, yes, I'd have to look at my, sorry. So, yes, so that, there's a dark dashed line that we're
Yep, that
calling
one.
out, sort of our
Yep.
tree protection line, so we're trying to protect the ones that are outside that area.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
that was the intent.
that's the intent, and you're trying, so, but I'm getting from what you're saying that you won't know until you actually get in there.
So until a contractor comes in there, and I could see a situation where we might come back with a field request if there are some other trees that we identify that probably need to be removed. But we are, if you look at the landscaping plan, filling this entire area with
Yeah,
trees.
yeah, we'll
Trying
get,
to-
we'll get to that, because I have a couple of questions about
Yep.
that, too. I just wanted to make sure I understood the
Yeah, so we're-
site and
so-
how the wet, so that,
We're trying to stay below there's also for US Army Corps, if we can stay under 4,000 square feet of disturbance, then it puts us in a,
temporary plus.
a different,
permanent. So you're at
permanent.
38, so you're close. So
Yes.
if you end up having to disturb the area outside that line, that could trigger,
that line, actually,
Individual
that line, the 38 or whatever includes that, it goes all the way out of, I believe, when I look, I'll have to look at the areas.
well, that's not really our thing, that's the core. Okay,
When we define the square footages, if you look at one of the plans, it's, I know there's multiple CSO2s, I apologize for that. There's a pumping station site plan with the landscaping on it, and there's a development area key plan that talks about the square footages. So when we proposed to Army Corps, we talked in more generalities with regards to that area. So we used this outer line for our square footages with regards to filing with them. So we were going for the general permit with a,
at 38,
with a whatever it is, the pre-construction notification form.
right. And if for any reason you end up going beyond that and you're over 4,000, does that trigger an individual permit requirement?
Yeah, so we're not gonna, we're,
You're motivated not
We're
to.
holding tight. on those limits.
we are holding tight on less than,
Gotcha.
we are holding tight on that line, so.
Okay.
The contractors have worked in some shoehorn spots, so this will be
Well,
another one.
it's tight, it's small, and it's really wet. So they've got a lot of issues about that. But thank you for that. I just wanted to get oriented and then let other people ask more substantive questions, and I'll come back later to
Okay.
restoration.
Anybody? Bob?
I got a few questions. How are you? So there's a driveway to the, let's see, the west of this site, correct?
There is yes, there's a driveway over on this side. It's not shown on this plan. I think if you went to, there should be a drawing. There's included in this set. So I gotta keep all my filings straight.
There was a plan.
Did I have a site plan? Cedar Street.
The plan on the other side of this one.
No, I guess it's not in this set. There is a driveway that is off here, and then there's a house just to the left of that driveway, just on
Okay.
the other side.
So this project site, does that come right up to the driveway, or is there some vegetation, existing vegetation?
There's existing vegetation in here along, because the property line for the triangle of the parcel. If you maybe go to this plan. If you go in the upper corner, I think maybe it shows more of the locust, but I'm not positive. Yeah, It's hard to see, but of that triangle, you can see where the property line is for the next property, and the driveway is kind of more adjacent to
So it
the
looks like
adjacent
there's
property.
10 feet or 20 feet or something like that.
There is some vegetation in there. It's not a lot, but there is some vegetation that's between the driveway and
Yeah.
the subject property.
Yeah, the reason why I brought it up, I saw some invasives in there, especially along the Cedar Street. We wouldn't want those invasives to continue growing into the new plantings and so forth. So we'd probably like to have some kind of a corridor in between existing vegetation and the new site, or the new fence.
Yeah, I guess the question is, because we're limited on actual physical real estate to locate the station, it's gonna be very difficult for us, because we're also trying to keep some small fraction of this thing out of the wetland.
Yeah, we're planting right up to the property line.
We're planting right up to the property line. So in order for us to try to have some kind of corridor there, then you're gonna lose all those, or a portion of those plantings.
Is someone gonna be maintaining this? I mean, the town is, obviously, but,
Well, as part of our contract with Veolia for operations and maintenance, that falls into their purview to maintain all the pump station sites.
okay, so it's up to the private contractor to do that then?
Yeah, the town would need to, ensure that they're following protocol.
Yeah. So do you, yeah, so I just brought that up because of the invasive start growing into the new plantings, then the planting's gonna be compromised. So that's one concern. And then, let's see, when you clear the site, are you gonna have like a fence along that line, so you don't hurt any of the existing trees and so forth? How is that done?
So if you go to, I think this, it'd be probably the plan above, wherever the landscaping plan that we were looking at. I think maybe it's the next one up. No, where did that go?
This one?
Oh, yes.
There it is.
And actually, no, it would be this, I'm sorry, if you go to this plan here, when we show where we're trying to put that we're gonna create basically like a tree barrier, like snow fence.
Good, terrific.
So that's the intent of that barrier, is to basically delineate, this is where we know it's gonna be very disruptive, but as much as we can to try to, keep that along where those trees are, that's to separate that. That's the intent of that.
Great.
Marking.
And then the fence itself, is there any way you can leave a gap on the bottom edge of the fence for, critters to run underneath? Or does that have to be tight to the ground for safety?
Is this primarily on the back side of the property or all around?
I'd say, yeah, all the way around.
I don't see why we couldn't call for, the privacy fence based on where we're doing it it's above the retaining wall, but we could certainly call out for that.
We just need to keep the overall fence height down
Yeah.
below 6 feet, so 5 foot 10 inches is what we propose.
So if you could leave maybe a 4-inch gap or something, so that any wildlife can
Next to
traverse the area,
Sure.
Yep.
that'd be great. And then, let's see, and then the only other thing I had was the,
We have that gap, actually. So at least on the privacy fence, we already show a 4-inch minimum gap.
Okay,
there. We just don't have it on the chain link, so I will just have that note added to the chain link.
okay, great. And on the plant schedule, we really usually like straight natives. I know you have a lot of cultivars listed on the different plants here.
We can adjust to,
We're just trying to screen it as best we can for the neighboring, you know,
Yes.
residences in that area.
Yeah,
so if there's plants of preference, then we can,
yeah, I mean, where it's, for instance, Juniperus virginiana, Burkeye, we just like to have eastern red cedar, you know, just the straight plant, which is Juniperus virginiana, and not a cultivar.
okay.
Same with, you know, Ilex and Chamaecyparis. That Chamaecyparis is okay, Atlantic white cedar, that's a straight plant, but,
I am. What about
Jersey
pink
princess.
certiorari, what is the azalea, pink cert?
yeah, that too, that has to be, I'm not sure about that one, but it has to be, it can't be a it doesn't look like it's a cultivar, but I'm not sure of the plant in this particular, you know, this
Is there a-
particular
Is there,
zone.
is there a choice of, or a preference in terms of what you'd be looking for that? We were just looking for something that's kind of,
It's on the
Kinda
list.
fill in.
If you go on the list, it's.
yeah, no, that's what we were trying to go through. I just didn't know if there was a preference in this location or something of a particular species. We can, I mean, I don't think the town's adverse to providing,
Yeah,
if people have a preference, then we'll,
Not necessarily, I don't have a preference myself, but.
no, I just think, I mean,
like a
azaleas
regular-
do well in.
Straight natives that are appropriate
so
for the
like a
wetland
regular
location.
rhododendron versus the azalea or something.
Well,
Or,
Or is-
a native that does well in a wetland habitat,
Yeah, that's what we were trying to,
yeah.
I think some of this is actually up in on the hill, so it's a little more out of the wetland, so that's what we were, you know, there is, if you look at the grade, there's a significant grade drop from the road down, and so this is kind of filling that hill gap between the roadway and where we've raised grade, so it's not sitting down in the wetland versus where we were planting a lot of the white cedar was all in the wetland.
It's something that will screen something evergreen. I mean, you know, even Ilex glabra, inkberry would do well. You know, that's a native, straight native.
Okay.
That's all I had, thank you.
anybody? I have a
Go
little
ahead, you
bit.
go, and I'll.
You say you're putting mulch in, and I'm not real big on mulch. And so why does it have to be mulched? Could we put, you know, this wetlands mix or something underneath rather than having mulch?
I don't,
It just, I think it would do better, and then you don't have to remulch it ever, too. And then, of course, I was curious about the plantings, but you're going to modify that. I think that would be great, because we don't like cultivars. Can't remember what else. Why don't you go, Jen, and then I'll come back around.
Okay. So I have a number of questions because, to be honest, in the years I've been here, I've never seen an application for an impact directly in the wetland itself. It's always been in the buffer zone. So this is,
Yep.
this is very different. And so the first question is practical. I mean, I saw the photographs taken in March. It's standing water. It's a winter wet woods, I would assume, in there. Do you need to put in fill, and how much? How are you going to be able to put this equipment and these structures into this area that's very wet?
so that's, yes, so we are going to be filling in this side of the retaining wall. So this would go back to where it is, then we build the retaining wall to raise grade to allow us to build the station in that.
Do you have a sense of what the volume of that fill, how much fill is needed?
I had that, I don't know that I could put my hands on it right now, out of the 400 pages that we have.
Yeah, I sympathize.
Oh, believe me, we
I
know.
sympathize.
Because I know it was a question, but it's,
Okay,
if I could probably do the math of 1,700, and it's, I think the most we were raising grade is, 2.5 to 3 feet, so if we went with, just for ballpark numbers, 3 feet times 1,700 is, my calculator out, let's see. Let's see, 17,
cubic yards, that's a lot of fill.
so that's cubic feet divided by 9, right?
27, right?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, let me do that again. 1,700 times 3, that's cubic feet. I was used to doing it square yards. Yeah, so it's about it's under 200 cubic feet. I mean, cubic yards.
Cubic
So
yards,
it's like
okay.
180 cubic yards.
That would be on the high end.
That's on the high end.
Okay, that's a lot, and that will, according to the engineering, keep everything above the water line, where the
Yeah,
water
so
table.
where our wet well is and things like that, we're still gonna be, there'd be structural fill that's gonna be going in below grade to replace any of the materials that are unsuitable for a structural foundation. So, a lot of the fill is gonna be based on trying to provide a structural support, and then the retaining wall to basically adjust the grade up.
So because of that, this 1,764 square feet of impact is essentially destroying the wetland. It's not going to exist anymore because it's going to have 2.5, because it needs to. And so, this is a hard balance between what we know as the larger environmental problem of nutrient loading, particularly in the Oyster River, versus the impact to a small untouched wetland is a little bit hard. But one of the things that I remember about all of this is that for decades now, it's been the policy of this state that there will be no net loss of wetlands, so that if any project on balance is needed to address an overriding concern, something is done to replace the lost wetland. And I looked in here and I saw a sentence that's talking about a wetland restoration area of approximately 500 square feet, as indicated, and it said on attachment 2, which I could not locate. So I was wondering if you could, so where I'm getting to is that what is this plan for restoring a wetland versus the plan and whatever plantings go along with that, as distinguished from the trees that are replacing the trees that are coming out. Those are two very different aspects of this, and I need to get them separated in my head.
So I believe that area is related to, it's not a replacement of the wetland. It is
Okay.
just restoring this area up here that's within the wetland.
But it doesn't need restoration, it's a natural functioning wetland
Well,
now.
but it's gonna get destroyed when they, no offense, is when they build this, they're gonna have to disturb that area. So then the restoration is actually putting it back
Fixing.
so that it functions
Repairing.
more like the wetland that it was with the white cedar, white Atlantic cedar plantings.
So those trees are actually doing double duty, sort of as restoring the disturbed wetland as well as replacing the other trees.
Correct.
So, okay, so we still have, though, a 1,760 square feet of lost wetland.
If I may, I'd like to
Yep.
point out too that current stormwater runs through a paved swale directly into the wetland, and we'll be removing that. We'll be recharging a lot of the stormwater along Cedar Street, and then the outfall here on site will we'll treat it through infiltration and through some, gravel beds as it gets released back to the wetland itself.
So the stormwater treatment system that's going in, what you're saying is part of the mitigation, basically?
Well, it's an improvement. It's not really documented, but there are going to be some improvements related to the construction of the site, yes.
We want to know all of that, because, again, because it's so hard, and it's so much balancing going on. If there's an overall environmental benefit that's being conferred by this thing, we need to be able to put that in our findings to justify whatever decision we make.
Yeah, if you, in the stormwater section of the report, which is Appendix E, I know there's like a million appendices and things like that.
Yeah,
And then the attachment to that appendix, that stormwater report, shows several figures that show the drainage areas. Hopefully it's in color in your printout, but I'm not positive. That would show the various existing drainage areas that have like one catch basin. And so those are where the areas where we're trying to make improvements to the stormwater. That's what the stormwater report focuses on, is trying to infiltrate that before it gets down to the bottom of the hill. And then basically doing a sediment trap before it then, right now it doesn't even have a sediment trap, it just goes out into the wetlands, so we're now adding that other structure. So there's not a lot of, because there's, as you noted, there's no separation, so we can't really infiltrate anything at the bottom, but we can try to capture some of the sediment, and then we try to infiltrate higher up into the watershed, or into the stormwater watershed, if that makes sense. And I apologize, I don't know what sheet that is in the document.
it's attachment 2 to the stormwater report, is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yep.
Okay,
There
I'll
should
get
be a
there.
figure that, I mean, I know this is small, but you should see something, and then there's a
Okay.
couple sections that show where those existing, yeah, oh, there it is, yep.
There we go.
So the colored areas indicate the various different drainage areas, so, and the drainage area is captured by, there's one, I think, one catch basin.
Yeah,
There's
and I think one of them is actually plugged, not by lack of maintenance, by a property owner. So we are looking to restore some of that.
So we're proposing to do additional drainage in these areas. Orange is the tough area, which is pretty much just going into our site. So that's where we're putting the sediment trap, but,
Okay, I will check that, thank you. Is that related to the, there's a reference to certain number of 900 and something linear feet that are going to, on Cedar Street, that are being disturbed? Is that part of this? That's what I assumed when I saw that. Or is that part of the laying of the sewer line, the main down the street?
Should be more than 900 feet.
Yeah, I wondered why it was
Yeah,
only 900.
I apologize, I don't know. I know we are filing separately, or,
Installation of 980 linear feet of force main under
Oh.
Cedar Street and the installation of gravity sewer on Cedar Street.
yeah, so the force main, because this was all tied to the pumping station, there is a force main that comes out of here and then goes up and discharges up towards Robinson Court just before, where the new existing sewer ends.
That's the ending point there, that pink, the end of
Yeah, it'll
that
be at
thing?
it's at the top of it.
Yep.
This is the drainage area. I don't know where, Robinson Court, I think, actually might be here. So the existing sewer, goes up to the top of the hill.
Okay.
And so we're gonna be putting in new sewer, and then under a separate request for determination of applicability, we've submitted, we just did it yesterday, I think,
Next meeting.
for this project and some other roads in town that are part of the larger project, just for where we're doing work in a already disturbed paved surface. So that's why we wanted to keep that separate from the notice of intent, because we knew this was a lot more complicated than working in already
This,
disturbed.
right, the notice
existing
of intent
road.
is just about the pumping station. And
So I think we were just making reference to the fact that this is tied to other work.
that's what I thought. I didn't want to get too far into it, but I saw that color and I saw.
So we can discuss that with the the RDA filing. if you
As long as it doesn't go through any buffer zone or
Well,
resource area.
Well, so they all go through, because the wetlands are right up against the road, that's why
Yeah.
we're filing the RDA, is because the 100-foot buffer and the 50-foot buffer basically cross this existing road, and that's where that work is gonna be. So we're seeking the RDA like we've done in all the other projects for approval to, do that without an order of conditions. Because it's already disturbed, it's already got utilities and things like that. We're just gonna be restoring it back to the way it is.
I believe that's on the next meeting's
Oh,
agenda.
okay, we can talk about it then.
I think I heard that yesterday.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's it for the questions. I guess I'm still a little baffled about what to do about the loss of a wetland. Is there any other possibility of a wetland restoration that could be done to compensate for the loss of this one?
Yeah, I'm not on site, I mean.
No, not on site, but hey, we think we're fine with, off-site mitigation and off-site, compensation
You're already going
issues.
to have some off-site
You're gonna do
mitigation
some-
because.
The trees, you can't put, you've already got them really densely.
And
in
you've
there.
acknowledged that there are more trees needed, which maybe can go to a different
Pump station.
pump station. Who knows? I think what would be good is to talk to us about the alternatives that were considered for this, because when we met before this was even filed,
Yep.
that was helpful to me, because it became very obvious that we don't really have a choice on location. And so we just want to make sure that whatever we do here is the best we can do, but I think we should hear the alternatives.
So so I'll take a step back and sort of, in the big picture, as part of the comprehensive planning, we worked with the town for years on how they wanted to lay out their sewers. And one of the primary directives was to try to get as many properties as feasible onto gravity sewer connections as we could. As you're probably aware of all the other grinder pump discussions and things like that. So when we first looked at this area, I want to say in 2016 maybe, I mean, it's probably been about 10 years. We were working with Dr. Duncanson, and we talked about where we could try to locate a site. So when we originally, this triangle was originally identified as the site of interest. Then when we got out there and realized we were deep in a wetland and it wasn't just a nice little triangle of town land that would be perfect for us to put a pumping station, we had to look at alternatives. So what we did is, from there, we looked at whether or not we could put something across the street. We looked at whether there was space across from Black Duck Landing. There's private property, but it's flat. It's in the buffer, but it's not in the wetland. So we started investigating about 3 other locations. As you may be aware or recall, that across the street, they ended up actually, I think they rebuilt the house, and then they redid, and you could see all the mitigation that was being done, so we knew that came off the table really quick. And we were trying to negotiate with the property owner across from Black Duck Landing. And we got close and came up with a bunch of different plans, but we could never get to a point where they were comfortable with wanting to have a pumping station at that location. So following all of those iterations and, sort of 9 years of on again, off again work, we met with the town again, and Bob, Greg, and Rob and I went down to the site and said, okay, well, if this is the town property and this is what we're working from, how would we go about doing this? And we've had all those discussions about, like, what are we gonna do about mitigation and tree replacement? And, because, trust me, this is the last place, like, in terms of, like, the ideal pumping station locations. I don't want to necessarily be building in a wetland. It is, it can be approved, but it's obviously, it's not the preference. But on the other side, it's the same, it's basically the same wetland that was probably years and years and years and years and years ago, cut in half by the road or whatever, and it's floodplain on the other side, so it's even worse. So even if we wanted to do this on the other side, it would be even more difficult, and it would be probably it might even be a non-starter. So that's kind of the process that we went through to do that, and then we decided to sit down with you to talk about, what this might look like. So we know it's a complicated project.
Even the physical construction in a wetland is not ideal.
No.
It presents its own challenges. But we do have to put it at a low spot to try to capture as many folks on gravity sewer as possible. And this, obviously, that's where wetlands typically are in the low area.
Oh, and the one other thing is the reason that, so the other reason that this is a sort of a key location is because other areas of Stage Neck would end up going to this pumping station as well. So that's why we were trying to have a station located there. The other option is that everybody would be on low-pressure sewer out there, pretty much. Not that they won't have low-pressure sewer in certain spots, but we're trying to at least capture what we can with gravity.
Okay, thank you. Can we circle back to the fence on the retaining wall? It didn't look like it on the plan, so the fence, I'm talking about the privacy fence, not the chain link that's to the back, which also actually, it looks like the chain link is within the retaining wall. Is that correct? Or is all of this going on top of the retaining wall?
So I'd have to see where our final detail ended up. We've been going back and forth. We can basically do it two ways. We have some situations where we actually have the fence mounted on the top of the retaining wall. No, you're good. I don't remember if that detail's in this one. Sorry. No, it's,
Quite a,
I think it's on this.
it's 2 feet, 10
Erosion
inches
control.
maximum.
Oh, there it is.
210.
So on sheet CDO4, we show it just set back behind the top of the retaining wall. So, and when you look at it up here, this dark line is the edge of the retaining wall, and you can see the fence is set just behind it.
Okay.
We can do it either way. It's really a constructability thing, and some of it depends on the type of retaining wall that we get. So it could be that if we get a submittal on a retaining wall where it'd be easier to locate it right at the top of the retaining wall as opposed to sitting just behind it, we might do that if that's a construction change. that would be
Unless
allowed.
there's a preference that the board would prefer.
Well, then, if it's within the retaining wall, the reason I'm asking is if it's within the retaining wall, then wildlife can't get through it, right? Because they'll hit the wall.
Well, they're always
Yeah.
going to hit the wall, so the gap that we'd be providing is actually at the top of the wall, so they'd have to crawl up the wall. and
Right.
Crawl under the fence. That's how it is set up right now. We don't wanna put the fence.
On the
in-
ground.
In the wetland.
Good, okay,
We want it on basically the filled side of the retaining wall.
right,
Because it's a maintenance thing and tree growth, and the fence will get destroyed, or it doesn't really serve any purpose, and we need it at the top of the retaining wall if we're even over, I think, 3 feet or 2.5 feet. As you start getting close to that, then you're required by code to have something so people don't fall off the retaining wall. So,
no, I think on top of the retaining wall is fine,
so if we went either way with either physically on top or mounted just behind, like on the inside of the retaining, like, can you pull up, let's see if, it's probably maybe
Well, I guess if I may ask, are you looking for some kind of mitigation to allow small mammals or something to
Well,
get up?
I mean, normally when there's fencing, we ask for a gap at the bottom so that wildlife can get through. Obviously, two sides of your fencing are not on a retaining wall, from what I see, so those would need a gap at the bottom.
there it is.
I mean, if it's right up against a retaining wall, the animals can't get through anyway. And I don't know if, when it's on top of a retaining wall, if we need the gap or not, or, I mean,
I mean, we can,
chipmunks can
so we-
climb,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so can
so-
squirrels.
yeah.
if you look at, like, so we can do, right now, it's set behind the retaining wall. So the
Right.
fence is mounted behind it. We have a detail where it's on top of it. Like I said, it really comes down to when we get the submittal from the contractor, if they submit us something where this would work better mounted on top of it, we can still provide the gap either way.
Right.
So you'll always have the gap. It's just whether it'll be, you know, a foot back or right at the top of the retaining wall, but you'll have the gap there.
Okay. I think we do need the gap.
Yep.
Definitely.
And the height of the wall is maximum 3 feet, and in a lot of areas, it may only be 1.5 feet or so, so.
Yeah, it said, here it says maximum height of the retaining wall is 2 feet, 10 inches?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
I mean, how does everybody feel? I think the gap, I think it's necessary. Okay. I'm trying to think if I had anything else that hasn't been done. As far as Janet said, offering some wetlands in another location to, you know, because to make up for what we've lost, what are your thoughts? Can that be done? I mean, you may not know where right now, but,
I think it all depends on the sites that we select and what's available for land. Say if we were to buy a parcel where we only needed a small percentage of it, the opportunity may be greater than if we were, say, taking an easement from a landowner and we're trying to minimize our footprint. So it really kind of depends on the situation at the time.
I mean, even removing invasives from a
Right.
current wetland.
Right.
Right.
If there's,
town.
whether there's any town-owned lands that is already owned, that could be a candidate for some kind of restoration.
There are a lot of invasives in many of the wetlands in town, unfortunately.
We recently did that on the Oyster Pond Beach.
Right.
exactly.
Right, the
Exactly,
phragmites.
and that was mitigation for another area, so.
Oh,
that-
for the other pump station,
Yes,
actually.
for the other pump station, so. We're we're all in on that one. Greg, did you have anything you wanted to say? And then I do have at least one person with a hand up, so I do know that.
Greg Berman, your Director of Natural Resources, and yeah, we do have a lot of invasive species in town and conservation in wetland areas, and we do try to address those. So, I mean, it's literally just gonna be a matter of documenting what we do. Well, MCI, we do it almost on an annual basis, but happy to look at that. You know, when I went out with Jeff and Rob to this site, Janet, I was definitely trying to swallow the pill. It was a little
Yeah.
bitter at the time. You know, first thought is we don't do things in wetlands, but the kind of overwhelming public good of this particular spot, I mean, whether it's the overall nitrogen reduction to our water bodies is going to be an incredible benefit. That said, we did try to add some other things to the project. We tried to shrink it as much as possible. Jeff and I talked about that constantly, shrink it high and dry as possible on the property, pervious pavers everywhere, screening.
Right.
And then the overall stormwater, trying to address that as best as possible. So this is one of those that, you know, I couldn't really be a proponent of it unless it had these net benefits to the overall project, but I did finally come around.
Thank
We're
you.
working on that here.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we have Michael online. Michael, would you like to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you'd identify yourself, please.
Michael Westgate, Cedar Street. 344. My concern is with the wildlife. I do a certain amount of cross-country skiing in the area behind this, and there are river otters that I'm not positive they use the culvert under Cedar Street, but I'd like to minimize the impact on wildlife, particularly the river otters. And in terms of the operation, to minimize noise and lights at night, that kind of thing. Yeah, I've seen the river otters, not themselves, but their tracks, which are pretty distinctive in the snow in the winter. So that's my, I guess in terms of the sewer itself, that's not strictly part of this package. But I'm not sure what other opportunities I'll have to speak to that. Does the sewer line itself not prevent wildlife from utilizing the culvert under the street or even passing over the street? And then I did have one comment in terms of mitigation that is adjacent to town landings and a variety of other places. I'm sure the town can document some places that they can offset the 1,600 or so square feet on this location.
Thank you. I do agree that I think we can find a place, and they have in the past, so I think that could happen again. Would you like to speak to his comments? I think he's concerned about the wildlife behind it. He's seen river otters. He's also concerned about noise and light at night. I don't think that's
So, all the lighting that we're providing is only for, it's on-off switch, so it's not gonna be
on all time.
photo sensors or motion sensors because of those concerns of these neighborhoods. But the operators, if they do have to go out, because usually, things don't break at, good times. They break on weekends and at night. So they have to be able to have adequate lighting as required by DEP as well over the generator and the wet well. The generator will generate noise during a power outage. I mean, obviously the town has experienced numerous power outages, so you've probably heard lots of generators and things of that nature. So, but on a normal basis, the generator will not be in service except for to exercise. And I don't know if is that weekly?
It's weekly.
Yeah.
Typically, we pick like a weekday, midday for, 10,
5
15 minutes,
yeah.
however long it
Mine
is.
goes 5 minutes once a week.
And then the pump station itself, usually it's just the hum of their electric pumps. So you might hear the hum of them turn on, and typically in an area like this, you're not going to be getting a lot of evening flows and things like that. So the likelihood of lots of the pumps turning on and off in the evening is going to be minimal, and during the day, you're not going to notice it more than regular car traffic.
The ambient traffic noise, yeah, will probably be louder than the bus.
In terms of, we're not touching so we will be working around any of the existing culverts and going underneath utilities through there, so we don't plan on disturbing that, and we're staying away from, on the northeast side of the sort of the property line is basically like I don't know what you call it, it's like a drainage ditch that runs that length, and we're staying as far away from that as possible. So I think we're over like 25 plus feet away from that area as well. So we're trying to minimize any of the disruption to those areas. I don't know if that answers all of the.
So where exactly is the culvert? It runs under Cedar Street?
It's like where the triangle, the drainage swale is where the edge of the triangle, where it meets Cedar Street. The culvert is, I think, right in that general area.
Yeah, it probably would have been easier to show from well, if you go to maybe the existing,
No, I was
either that or
looking
the
at
stormwater
the
plan.
existing
but,
didn't have it.
That existing
Could you maybe add it to the existing so that,
Well, I think it's off the,
oh, it's off the property?
I think so the swale runs down here, and then I think the crossing is in that.
It crosses there, runs into the wetland on the other side of the road, then recrosses Cedar Street.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's weird.
Okay.
It's a very odd section.
Okay. Do you have any further questions or comments, Mr. Westgate?
I think that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody? Go ahead, Teresa.
Stay away from her mitigation.
Good afternoon, Teresa Sprague with Blue Flax Design. I'm here on behalf of Steve and Betsy Carter. They're at 267 Cedar Street. Just wanted to talk about the planting for a couple of minutes, and I appreciate some of the comments the commission gave about the planting. I also understand that the designers of this are trying really hard to meet the mitigation requirement of 3-to-1 and shoehorn a lot of trees into a really tight area. I think they're going in a small size, which they would have to fit, I think it's 75 or something like that, trees back into this really small spot. Most of them being Atlantic white cedar, which, as you know, get quite large over time. So from the perspective of our client, screening is very important to them. And I understand, too, there's budget constraints. So I wonder if the commission might consider reducing the number of trees in order to put in some larger sized trees, maybe adding some shrubs in lieu of, I know that I understand entirely why they chose the Juniperus virginiana burkii, because it's an eastern red cedar cultivar that grows to a fairly small size. It doesn't get particularly large. And they're trying to diversify the heights in front of here. But perhaps something like, as Commissioner Del Vecchio pointed out, inkberry holly, arrowwood viburnum, winterberry holly might do really well here. Clethra alnifolia, summer sweet, and then eastern red cedar versus the Atlantic white cedar, especially if the area is being filled and it's no longer wet, which is what the eastern white cedar wants to be growing in wet conditions. And then also some consideration for putting in some larger size plants, particularly for the screening right along Cedar Street. If in lieu of planting, 15 small trees at a 3-gallon size, we could put in 5, 7 to 8 foot. There was some mix of trees and shrubs, some deciduous, some evergreen. I think that would be a fantastic improvement and help improve the aesthetics for not only our clients, but for people who are generally walking. It's a really well-traveled roadway with lots of people walking consistently. So might just give the abutters a little bit of additional screening a little bit more rapidly. And 3-gallon eastern Atlantic white cedars are going to take a significant amount of time to become a screening tree. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's what was put in at the Queen Anne pump station. They put in larger, about 7-foot cedars along the street there to screen that one.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with, if there are plantings that she would prefer, if we could get those in writing so that we could get an idea and.
said
She'll get it to you.
She'll get it to you.
And if you want to, and by all means, if you'd like to mark up the plan of what you'd like to see, that would make it a lot easier for us. We don't have a problem. I think we were trying to balance jamming as many trees in there as we could with regards to the 3-to-1, replacements. So if there's some relief with regards to that to address, the quantities or how we address the quantities of trees, that's the biggest concern we have. We're happy to provide.
Or you could put more at another spot.
Off-site,
Sure.
we're all about
But-
it.
Could I make a suggestion? Maybe your designer can get in touch with Teresa, and maybe they can have a conversation on what they could plant.
Yep.
Thank you.
Eric?
Just a couple of things. I know it's been going on for a while. I was surprised that Teresa was the first time she wanted larger plants. Usually I get the argument, smaller plants grow faster. But in any case, how many houses will this pump? Or how many houses will this accommodate?
So initially,
It's in the 50, mid-50s
yeah, somewhere in there.
initially.
And then it's gonna then pick up basically everything from, the rest of Stage Neck, potentially down. So what hasn't been resolved is where the end of when you come up Champlain from Stage Harbor on the bottom side of Stage Neck, and it kind of turns, we're not sure which direction that will go, whether it'll go to Old Mill Boat Yard or go here. It won't flow by gravity to here.
Right.
It'll have to be pumped to here, but it's basically to serve the whole rest of that.
So so in other words, if you were to use poop and urine as mitigation, it's a lot of mitigation, right? So, because if we continue to dump our nitrogen in the waterways, then we're not gonna have many critters to look at in the long run to enjoy, all year round. Unfortunately, to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs, in my opinion. So I'm all for sewering or whatever it takes to get this done in the long run. I think it's a huge benefit for the town and the environment. Thanks.
Okay, so we've gone over a lot. I think we'd like to see different, obviously, mitigation, and you're going to work on that. And as you know, we'll put in, when we get to a point of an order, that possibly some invasive removal someplace else in some wetlands would be good. And if you have an idea of where that could be, if you added that when you came back, that would be even better. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that we really needed from them at this point. I think it was more answering our questions, but not problems with plans, so to speak.
Other than the tree the planting plan.
Yeah, the planting plan is
and
really the
questioning
one.
the density and the size, and again, we're happy to consider off-site, tree
Right.
replacement areas. We've done that before, as we've talked about.
You all have done
So,
that before.
Yeah, so, and we know that there are a couple of sites in town that are being called out for needing some
Yeah.
native planting, so that might be a win-win.
So we do have a draft plan for the Meeting House Road South Pump Station for landscaping mitigation there as well.
Well, then, that you could, if you have that already and you've got it going, you could also include that, and we could put that into this order and make it all, that could be your off-site mitigation. So, having said that, I think really what we need is the planting plan again. When would you like to come back? Our next meeting's September 24th.
How soon can you get a revised landscaping plan together?
It's as soon as I can get the information of what exactly
Oh,
is
we have
desired.
September 10th, I'm sorry, we have September 10th, too. I don't know, I'm jumping ahead.
Ideally, I'd like to do the 10th if
Okay.
the RDA is there, because then I can just get them both done. But is it possible that I could find out what the changes are and then see what the timing is to create that plan?
Well,
Or do
we
you have
could
to-
put you on the 10th, and if you need more time, you could
Just
ask for a continuance to the 24th.
Yeah. Oh, let's do that. I'd rather do that, and then we'll ask for a continuance if we don't think we're gonna be able to have. And when would information need to be provided to you for the 10th?
The Thursday before, so that's
Fourth,
next
That's
week.
Next,
next
yeah,
Thursday.
after the holidays.
Oh,
so.
my, it's September. Yeah.
Well,
You want to go to the 24th?
well, no, is it a problem if we ask for a continuance? Is there
No.
Is that more, do I have to do anything more than send an email that says? we're
You
gonna
just
ask?
send an email and you say, we'd like to request a continuance to the 24th.
Let's go for the 10th so I can keep things moving.
Okay.
And that way, that'll be to our advantage, and if not, then if we don't think we can get the plan done, we'll ask for the continuance.
That's perfect. Okay, if we could have a motion, please?
I move that we continue 0 Cedar Street, the Cedar Street Pump Station design, to September 10th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, Paul Johnson.
Aye.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
And I say aye. So you're on for the 10th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Bradford, the next, which is now we're back to the normal agenda, so we're on orders.
Yeah. Jumping back to requested order of conditions, the first one is 30 Pine Lane. Michael
Lynch
Tu-
and
Michael
Tuia.
Lynch, yeah, thank you. Map 13J, parcel 6G12B, SC 103716. Proposed screen porch, sunroom, and deck addition within the 50-foot buffer zone to a fragmented coastal bank and 100-foot buffer to BVW. Invasive plant management, invasive plant restoration, lawn reduction, mitigation plantings, and kayak rack.
Great, thank you. Did Therese leave? Well, she's standing right out there. Okay. Paul, we need Teresa. We need Teresa. We're on Pine. You're on. Sorry, maybe we should have done another and let you.
No, that's okay. Yes. good
Okay.
afternoon. Teresa Sprague with Blue Flax Design. I did have an opportunity to review the draft, and I understand the confusion regarding the numbers, so I did want to clarify that
Good.
for you.
That's what we were hoping you would do, which was why we really needed you.
Yes. So if you look at the plan by BSC Group dated January 20th, the proposed conditions plan, I'm sorry, with a revision date of April 29th, 2025, they included an area calculation, and in everything that they're including, we also show in our plan within 50 feet of the coastal bank, which is the no disturb zone. But what we did on our plan was we further broke it out to also show you what the disturbance would be within the 50 feet of the BVW. So those BVW numbers are all included in the 50 feet to the coastal bank.
Okay.
They're just broken out so that you could see them separately to understand what was happening within the 50-foot buffer to the bordering vegetated wetland.
So is
Perfect.
the number
So-
621, are you recused?
So the total numbers.
Sorry, I am
for-
recused.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So within 50 feet of the coastal bank, within the no disturb zone, we have an existing of 815, a proposed of 1,079. So there's a 264 square foot increase of structure. And then hardscape pools, et cetera, within the 50 to the coastal bank, there's 80 existing, 288 proposed, 208 is the net change. Exactly. So we've got, and then within the 50 to 100
So far.
of the bank, we have 2,116 existing, 2,261 proposed, and 145 is the net change, so an increase of 145 square feet of areas of structures. And then areas of hardscape pools, walkways, driveways, we have 868 existing, 872 proposed, so 4 square feet of increase in structure. So we have a total of 621 square foot increase in structure, and then 18,239 square feet. So of that 621 that's located within the 50 to 100 of the bordering, I'm sorry, within the 50 to 100, or the 0 to 50 and the 50 to 100 of the coastal bank, 319 of that is located within the 0 to 50 and 50 to 100 of the BVW. Yep.
And what about in the outer aura?
Those are both, the inner and outer. So the total is, if you look at just the
468.
BVW, where there's nothing proposed in the inner aura to the BVW,
Right?
and only 319 square feet in the outer aura to the BVW.
So the combined total, with that
It's-
regard to where they are, in all.
Yes, so the combined total, the total is the 621 square feet. It's just that 319 square feet of that 621 is within the buffer to the BVW.
I'm still confused, I'm sorry. 621 within the no disturb zone.
No, I'm sorry, it's, so,
In any no disturb zone, don't double count.
yeah,
the
no,
ones
I'm
that are
not
in-
double counting.
Yep.
So in order to do that, I'm only looking at the no disturb zone to the coastal bank.
Right,
So, I didn't bring my calculator.
621 minus 319.
So we've got a net change, it's 264 of structure and 208 of hardscape. So it's, if someone wants to do some quick mental math, it's like my worst fear, being asked to
She's
do.
got a calculator, hang
Oh,
on.
so 264 and 208.
472.
So that's the net change within the no disturb zone or the inner aura
Yep.
to the coastal bank. And then we have 149 square feet total within the outer aura. To equal
And that
621.
totals a 621.
Correct,
Overall, aha, okay,
yes,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I would have thought it would be more common that we would have overlapping resource areas, but we don't. And this one was really, made my head spin a couple times.
Yeah, no, when I read the comments, I had to pull the two plans and sit with it for a few minutes last night, so I
Glad
had
to hear that, wasn't,
Thank you for making that so clear.
Yeah.
I was the one that did all the yellow in the
Okay.
report.
No,
You know, we
and
really-
I saw that, and I completely understood, I'm confused. I was like, I am kind of too, it took me a minute.
Were there any other concerns that you had?
No, I don't think so. I think everything else was very clear. Oh, I did want to note that, I'm sorry, so under findings in number 2, to mitigate for the impacts associated with the increase in coverage, the project includes over 18,000 square foot mitigation, including removal of all lawn. And then you have within conservation jurisdiction, and because of those two overlapping resource areas, I think it's more clear to say within the 50-foot buffer to the coastal bank.
Okay,
Because all lawn will be removed within the 50-foot buffer to the
Okay.
coastal bank.
thank you.
And then the only other thing, there was one note about the lawn being managed with herbicide, and that's not the case. We will not be using herbicide on the lawn. We'll remove any of that with a sod cutter.
That was funny. Not to use herbicide on a lawn.
Well, we generally try not to use anything on lawns because we don't usually put in lawns, but we usually take them away, but we'll do that with, we don't want to just spray herbicide, we want to manage it very selectively. Yep.
That was in comment, finding number 5.
got it, I just changed it.
Any commissioners have any other changes?
I have something that's very, very minor, very minor. On finding number 4, 8, Canadian. Canadian is spelled wrong.
It is. Got it.
And on, same thing on the special conditions, number 2, Canadian is spelled wrong.
Got it.
You channeled your inner Mr. Bob Rawls.
That's all I had, thank you.
Got it.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ready for a motion?
Yep. So I move that we close the hearing and approve the order of conditions for 30 Pine Lane.
Second.
And we'll take the vote. Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
I say aye.
And I abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Bradford, the next one, please.
Up next, we have 374 Fox Hill Road, 734 Fox Hill Road, Willis Barton Row, map 12M, parcel W1, SC 103731, site redevelopment.
Okay, do we have any, hi, Sean, how are you?
Good. Thank you. For the record, Sean Riley with Time Bond. We had a chance to review the draft order that was revised by Mr. Whiteman and don't have any questions.
Great. Do any of the commissioners have anything that they'd like to have addressed in that
I
order?
just have a question. So what is the date of the final plan of record, the last revision?
Date of the final plan of record is.
I had down,
I have 8/19, but I think it was revised after that.
that's
To
what
remove-
I
8/19.
got.
Remove the RIN station?
It is 8/19.
Okay.
That's the one with the removal of the rinse
Ah,
station. I
okay.
added that.
Oh, okay, you did, okay. So we are all
Yes.
set.
So, okay, anybody else? Bob?
again, something very small. Findings, number 4, the last sentence. Additionally, the American Holly near the proposed driveway, actually, it's near the proposed garage. Is that true, Sean?
That's correct. It is by the garage.
Area will remain. And it's the same thing on number 5 of the special conditions.
All right, let me get it there. Near the proposed garage.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right, then we can go to a motion, please.
I move that we close the hearing on 734 Fox Hill Road and approve the order of conditions as revised.
Second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay.
Thank you very
Next
much.
one, Bradford. Thanks, Sean.
Next one is 237 and 263 Woodland Way, Woodland Way Nominee Trust, map 11K, parcels HC48 and HC49, SE 103734, removal of 2 boathouses, construction of 1 new boathouse, and access stairs within Coastal Bank.
How are you?
Good afternoon, David Clark, Clark Engineering on behalf of the Gitlins. Looked through the order, the only thing that was a surprise to me and that the contractor was condition D2, where you changed the design of the stairs to require Greenheart as the support post, and we can't use the ACQ specified on the plan. Like I said, it's a surprise to us in that it wasn't mentioned at either of the other 2 hearings that you wanted to see a design change.
It's under installation of access stairs, D, section D, way down. We didn't write that part. I mean, that's a condition that's been in there,
General condition.
yeah, forever.
Well, it's the first time I've noticed it, and lots of stairs have been built since then, and decks and things like that. I don't understand what the issue is in that there's no water contact, so the idea that it leaches really isn't applicable. But that being said, the contractor did do some scrambling, and they can find cedar to use as post. That cuts the lifetime of the stairs in half, so we'll be back before you in 10, 15 years to start replacing posts. But other than that, it's a condition I guess we can live with. It was just a surprise, that's all.
What? Oh, yeah, there is a note here that Wilkinson was going to provide another mitigation plan that reflected the, I have to go back up to find the wording.
Is that in the order?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
highlighted,
it is. It was highlighted.
page 2.
At the end of the hearing, there was discussion about to include another mitigation area to the west of the deck that's remaining, and
And needs
they said,
planting.
oh, yeah, we can do that, and we'll add that to the plan. I just was looking for a date for the
Oh,
plan.
That's
that
all
had
we
that
need
on
is
it.
the date.
yeah, I'll find out what happened
Okay.
to the plan.
I just had a quick question. Was it ever discussed how the other boathouse and all that stuff's getting removed? Is it from the water? Is it coming up the hill, or
I think I'll try bringing it up the hill.
is this the same
Small
hill
enough
going
they
by
can cut
the deck that the disturbance would be too much disturbance rather than to remove the object? So you'd be going right past the deck.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be better to leave it.
It'll be another
Nope.
decade before it falls down, though.
We don't want it falling.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we just needed a plan for the date, and we couldn't find it. So I think we could,
We can approve it. just
we
to
could
send it.
approve it and then just not issue it until we get that plan, so we can update the date
Okay.
for the plan. So if that's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is it necessary to have cedar posts, considering we've approved other stairways with the pressure treated? I mean, it's not in water,
It
not
is
in
intended,
contact with
it is
water.
intended, I think, to be for projects that are in contact with the water.
We could, yeah, you brought up a good point. We could modify that for this, because it's not in the water. That's more, as we've said, for when it's touching water. So that was in D. I gotta find it
I
again.
got it, D2.
D2. So okay, she's writing it in, and then we'll,
If I change that to if any structures that come into contact with water need to be made of that. This is a general condition, so if I'm changing it here, I'm changing it for
all.
all eternity. So if your structure doesn't come into contact with the water, then it doesn't apply.
How's that?
Does that work?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Then I think we can have a motion to approve.
I move that we close the hearing on 237 and 263 Woodland Way and approve the order of conditions as revised.
Second.
Okay, Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And next, Bradford, please.
Moving on to a field change request, 59 Tulipy Run, Brian Monick, map 15A3, parcel 1N137, SE 103545. Shoreline protection project. Field change request is to address design changes to the revetment slope, site access, additional tree removal, revetment cross-section, and revetment stair detail.
Okay. I'm not sure who's on. I'm sure
Dan,
it's,
who's the,
I'm trying to find,
I don't see him.
no, I don't see
You have
Dan.
Dennis Moran with Ty and Bond. I'm filling
Oh,
in for Dan
Okay.
Chernigley
Hi,
today.
Dennis.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hello. And I think I have Jessica Roberts also here. Are you on, Jess?
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you. So really appreciate everybody's time today. I'm going to share a PowerPoint, if that's okay with everybody.
Yes.
So we're here today to request a field change for some the revetment on 59 Tulipy Run. My understanding is this project has been in front of the commission a few times. So similar to other projects that we've discussed with the commission for field change requests, we're asking the same thing for this parcel. So for 59, the construction is not started yet, and it's under the existing order of conditions SE 103545, and our client is looking to start construction in the next month. As of yet, we have not had a pre-construction meeting with the commission. Our client, the homeowner, is in the process of selecting a contractor, so they've put their project out to bid. They solicited pricing, and they're looking at qualifications for the next steps. So the field change that we're requesting is to slightly modify the slope of the revetment to be consistent with the neighboring properties to match the revetment that has been installed at 75 and 27 Tulipy. And the other significant change is how the site is being accessed. It was previously permitted to access the site from 27 Tulipy, but we're now proposing to access the site from 59 via the existing driveway. It's going to reduce the overall impacts to the resource area, and it provides a little bit more streamlined access point that doesn't interrupt or impact anybody else's property. So the access way will remove 3 trees in the buffer, and we're proposing to replace those trees. And that's generally the overall changes. There's a couple plan views. This is the previously approved plan with access from 27. and we're proposing to access the site from 59. I'm happy to go into all the details about this. I don't know how much clarification you want, but the revetment cross-section, the stones, although pictorially the details are somewhat different, it's more the slope is generally the only thing that's changing. It's going from the previously approved 2-to-1 to a proposed approved 1.5-to-1 revetment. The stone sizes are the same geotextile, same bedding stone. And then there's some slight minor design changes to the stairways as well. The new drawings also include the staging area, as I previously mentioned, was off parcel as proposed. We're proposing to keep everything on the proponent's parcel and generally as much as possible in previously disturbed areas. I'm not sure if you have anything to add to that, Jessica.
I don't. Thank you.
So at this point, I'd love to turn over to the commission with any comments, concerns, questions.
Go ahead, Janet.
I have a quick question. What are the 2 trees in the front of the yard being removed for?
Let me just try to zoom into this a little bit. You're talking about in this area right here?
Yep.
It's specifically for access for the larger vehicles. If possible, we would love to not remove them, but we don't think we can get the equipment necessary in through their driveway without removing those trees. And, you know, they're definitely interested in restoring it to the previous existing conditions, you know, more for aesthetic reasons, but we also understand the environmental concerns.
Okay, so is there, forgive me because there's been a lot to look through, a proposal for the replacement of the 5 trees that are, four trees that are coming out?
Are you talking about a typical, the specific species of trees?
Well,
Or-
you're asking to remove 4 trees that were not approved previously. I'm just asking what the proposal is to replace them.
We're proposing to replace them with trees larger than 2 inches in diameter, of the same species.
I think what we need is a plan that shows the mitigation that you're doing for the tree removal. And I believe there's also maybe some bushes coming out. Am I correct? I mean, I
That
think
is
that
a-
your access is better than, you know, I talked to Catherine Ricks, our coastal person, yesterday. Just, she said that the access was actually preferred, because I was curious whether this was a better thing or not. But, I mean, she had no issues with this field change, but I do need to see where, we see what trees are coming out, and I understand, but we need a plan that shows where you're putting the mitigation for what's coming out.
Okay. I understand the request. At this point, I can verbally state that they're proposing to replace the trees in the same location, but I do understand the requirement and the need for the plan depicting that.
Well, if you, maybe that's, okay, so maybe that's what you meant by, to be replaced with an oak tree and it's, okay, so I see, you're putting, on one of them, it's marked that it's going in the same location. Other ones, it's not marked as that. It doesn't say what the tree is that's coming out, which I know what it is, but it doesn't say it. I mean, this one plan, which I'm looking at the shoreline protection restoration plan. And the other things with X's don't say that something's going in, what's going in its spot. I'm assuming that you're saying a white oak tree, that one, you're putting in a white oak tree. The others, it doesn't say what you're doing.
So it's the typical of the 3 trees.
Right.
So it's not, there's no arrow directly pointing at it, but it's proposed to replace all three of those trees in the same location with white oaks greater than 2 inches.
Okay. And how about the shrubs?
The shrubs out in the front in the area of the roadway, those will be replaced in kind.
And what
And
are
depending
the,
on the time. For the species, I'm not familiar enough with this project to comment on the species, but I certainly can, when Dan is back from his leave, certainly
okay.
find out about that.
Yeah, I mean, it just, more detail on here, the more detail, the better.
Yep.
I know Bradford actually went out and he had some recommendations, and there's a white pine that's coming out. Or white, he's recommending a white pine as the replacement for the pitch pine that is being removed, which I assume is what's in the front of the property. And then there's an additional dead oak tree that maybe you'd want to remove. And then he says the bushes are 2 burning bush and a blueberry, and he's recommending high bush blueberries as the replacement. So this is why we need some more detail, because right now it's not on the plan that we have. So just, I'm going to now turn it over to others. Bob, Eric, any of you?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask about, the replacement plants, you know.
So you'd like to see him on this plan as well? Okay.
And burning bush clearly are invasive, so
Yes.
we wouldn't go
I'm
like
working
for
on
like.
removing them.
Karen
I
can go there
I
and
can
remove it for
speak
you.
Personally, for trying to get the roots out, it's very difficult. And not meant for somebody like me to do, hence my injuries. But I did it. So, anybody else? Janet, do you have anything?
No. Other than, the same reaction I've had to all of
I
these.
know.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
It's disappointing. Oh well.
Well, it's actually only half of the revetment or so has to be changed the slope, because the other half was done at 1.5 to 1 to meet the
29.
27 or
27 or
29,
yeah.
whatever,
Right, so it's not- And we knew when we proved 95 that this was going to happen.
and
Down the
79.
line, so, whatever. Yep.
97, 75, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so we're going to continue this because we do need some more detail on this one plan. When would you like to come back to us? We have September 10th, September 24th.
September 10th sounds lovely, if that's a possibility. If we can be added to that agenda, we should easily have the drawings revised by then.
Okay, if we could have a motion, please.
I move that we continue 59 Tillaby Run to September 10th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, so we'll see you on the 10th. Okay, Bradford, the
you
next,
so much.
please.
Up next is a request to extend an order of conditions for 83 Siegel Road, 30 Wickus Way, 0 Starfish Lane, Outermost Harbor Marina, maps 15A1 and 15A, parcels 12H98, Chat OCE, and US1 SE 103277, marina expansion and expanded dredge footprint.
Okay, so, this is just a one-year extension. There, it expires November 29th, 2025. Oh, all right, we have someone here, so go ahead. Hi, Hannah.
Hello, everyone. So as you mentioned, this is one of the open order of conditions
Hannah,
for
could you just
Outermost Harbor.
identify yourself first for the record?
Yep, Hannah Raditz, wetland scientist with BSC.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep, as you mentioned, this is one of the open orders of conditions for the Outermost Harbor Marine property. It involved specifically improvement dredge for the piers and the floats at the marina. And as they're currently going through the combined permitting process, the combined 401 and Chapter 91 permitting process, as well as the PCN, the applicant was hoping to keep this order of condition open in case they did want to do the reconfiguration of the pier within this permitting window. So that's the purpose of keeping this order of conditions open for an additional year.
All right, anybody have any questions, comments? Okay, we can have a motion, please. To the 29th, 2026.
I move that we approve the extension of the order of conditions for 83 Seagull Road and 30 Wickies Way and 0 Starfish Lane to November 29th, 2026.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet? Aye. Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, Bradford, the next.
Up next is a request for determination of applicability, 55 Linnell Lane, Pamela Kindler, map 16J, parcel R2, R2512, proposed sand drift fence.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Okay, yes.
Hello, it's Bob Perry, Cape Cod Engineering, working with the Kindlers here. I am on a desktop without a camera, so I'm speaking to you by phone. I do see your screen. This is the second evolution of sand drift fence at this location. Just a little bit of history. I was contacted after the Kindlers reviewed some options with Catherine Ricks and Paul Whiteman, and it was recommended that they attempt to increase the volume of the dune that has, if you've been over, it's been very successful using the material that was deposited. It certainly moves around, and the fence is preventing that departure, and it's doing a very good job of collecting. There's a super crop of American beach grass and other coastal varieties growing in there that have just set naturally. And the proposal you have today is a second line of drift fence that would be between 8 and 10 feet seaward of the existing. There's only about 1 foot of the existing fence showing, and the objective here is twofold: to increase the volume of the dune vertically, but also to attempt to enhance its volume seaward. So that's the reason for the placement. There are several gaps. There's a pathway that the Kindlers use, and that's going to remain open, but it doesn't show signs of blowing out or anything. This was done, I think, 3 years ago, and it's been extraordinarily successful. So it's handwork. It's lath-type fence. It's not some of the more thicker, durable fences that you've seen. There's no planting that's in conjunction with this because the growth in there is doing very, very well. It's probably, a day or two of work to have this done. So I'll be happy to try to answer questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one quick one. Given that you say it's been, what you have there has been successful, why are we adding another layer of fencing now?
Well, there's the existing fence is a little bit weathered. It is only a minor distance above the sand. And so the second line of fence will enable the fence to function at a higher elevation than the existing fence in order to grow more height to the dune.
But you're leaving the existing fence in?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question. So, Bob, so this will be the same materials, exactly the same as the existing fence?
It is. I want to make a statement on that. The plan calls for garden border timbers, and I think sometimes notes get carried over from other projects. And the current posts are 2x4, untreated, and that's fine. So the new fence will be consistent with what's there.
That's the issue. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's going to be
Yeah.
consistent with what's there. From the perspective of somebody who was skeptical about this project when it was first proposed and has watched the evolution of it and watched that dune form over the last, 3 or 4 years, it has been amazingly successful. So if this can actually extend that dune further seaward, I think I'm all for it.
We've been lucky, and
Well,
I
there's
used to
that.
go here after in 2018, and when it was really a flat space, and although it was not violent surf action, there was a 1 or 1.5 foot sheet flow foamy comber that would come right across. So this dune will prevent that, and it will certainly donate sand. And my hope is that it really grows in well, and so I appreciate your favor for this.
Could we ask that, as part of this approval, that you provide photos before and maybe annually, so we can see how effective adding a second layer of fencing is, given that we were a
Yes.
bit not convinced with the first layer, and it's done well, but it would be nice to see what the difference is before you put it in, and then each year to see if it's made a big difference.
I'd be happy to. I know Pam Kindler would be eager to do that
Okay.
to demonstrate the efficacy of this. Yes.
Good, okay. I think then we can go to a motion to approve.
Could I?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
It's all right.
Sorry.
Hi, Bob, how are you?
Doing fine. Don't get to see much of you, but I'm still out here. Thanks.
Okay. There's the existing drift fence is a continuous length of fence, and it doesn't have gaps like this proposed drift fence.
It does.
Oh, it does have
Yeah,
gaps?
it has, I think, one, maybe two gaps.
One for the people, one
So
for the
there's two.
wildlife.
Yeah,
Two gaps.
it does have, and
Oh,
so
okay.
he's putting different the gaps are in different spots,
Okay, all right, okay.
but yeah.
Stand
actually,
corrected, sorry about that.
No, that's okay, it's just,
I'll get you the next time, Bob, okay?
Okay, you're on.
okay,
All
then we
set.
can go to a motion.
I
It's
move-
a -2.
-2, right. I move that we approve 55 Linnell Lane's request for determinant of applicability as a -2.
Second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next, Bradford, please.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
The next is a request to amend an order of conditions, 86 Capri Lane, John and Tama Andres, map 13C, parcel C13, SE 103550, construction of a garage, addition, driveway, and deck expansions. Amendment is to increase depth of the proposed addition by 2 feet within the existing driveway, phase 2.
Good afternoon, David Clark, Clark Engineering on behalf of the Andres family. We were here several months ago with the first phase. We briefly outlined the purpose of the change. Mr. Andres' mobility is changed significantly over the last couple of years. So the purpose of the project is to to expand that addition by a couple of feet to accommodate an elevator in that addition. Other parts of the project include a change in the surface of the driveway from gravel to pervious concrete. This is to give them a smooth and durable surface to move a wheelchair around on. And also, if you look at the site plan, here we go. This area at the base of the retaining wall is currently vegetated. So what we're proposing is to extend the pervious concrete along that wall to give them again, a smooth and durable surface to get access to the paved road for Mr. Andres. So that's a little change from what was presented the last time, and that change boosts the site coverage up by a few hundred square feet. And so, looking at the project, we had extended this parking area a little bit further to the south on the approved plan, and that was to accommodate storage of a boat in the off-season. They no longer have a boat, so they no longer need that extra space. So we decreased the depth of this parking area, and so that the net increase now of this concrete walkway is only 151 square feet. And again, it's right on the outer limits of the 50 to 100. It's the furthest away from any of the resource areas as we could possibly get it. Again, as mitigation for that increase, we decreased this stone parking area, but we couldn't decrease it enough to make it a wash. Looking at the approved mitigation plan done by Crawford, we have 1,100 square feet of mitigation for this project. That 151 square feet increase gets us up to 715 square feet net increase in the 50 to 100. So we're still within the 1-to-1 that's required by the commission. And the only vegetation that's being lost by this project is the turf lawn. There's no trees that have to come out and no native vegetation. And this does require zoning board of appeals approval, and I believe that has been scheduled.
I didn't see that. So, I wonder where I put the,
We have a note that says,
oh, okay. All right.
there you go.
Anybody have any questions, comments? I just have a little bit, I mean, you've explained why we went up from, I think it was 41.3% to 42.4% coverage in the outer aura. The numbers in the outer aura, originally, when you came before us last time in phase one, the existing steps, the existing driveway to remain was 2,076, and now it's 853.
That's,
Maybe I pulled the wrong. Yeah, existing driveway to remain, the original, the one you presented to us in phase one was 2,076, and now it's 853 square feet. So I was curious about that.
yep. So there are three numbers you need to add together to
Right.
get to the total
And the bottom
driveway.
two, that was that's why I was asking, because then you have the proposed pervious paved driveway is now 528, and then the stone is 1249.
Yep.
Now, so you're using pervious concrete, but you're also putting stone?
Yes, the pervious concrete's only for the areas where they're gonna park the cars and they need the access for the wheelchair access.
Right.
So the rest of
Okay.
it was, previously was was pervious, shell, stone, and we're gonna keep it that way. There's no need to pave the whole driveway in porous concrete.
Okay. That was sort of, I thought, well, if the reasoning behind all of this was for accessibility for him, I thought, how can we continue to have most of it be stone? But, okay, I get it now. So, all right, that's all I wanted to know. I guess we could have a motion to close and approve.
When do they go to ZBA?
Oh, no, you don't, yeah, you don't go to ZBA, that's right, until the 25th of September.
There's no reason why we can't wait till first
October?
meeting October, yeah.
Okay, we haven't determined how many meetings we're having in October. I guess we should put that as the first discussion item. I guess we could schedule it even for the first, and if we decide not to have 3 meetings, we can
Move it to the 8th.
move it to the 8th, or you could choose to just be on the 8th.
The 8th is fine, 8th of October, that's fine, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's a 20-day appeal period with a ZBA decision anyway, so.
All right, so we're going to move it to the 8th of October for the amended order.
I move,
We will have it already then.
all righty. I lost my address here. I move that we continue 86 Capri Lane to October 8th, 2025 for an amended order of conditions.
Second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet. Aye. Elise.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye.
Thank you.
If you don't, I'd like to take a
Yes,
break.
I was just going to
I'm
recommend
going to be
that.
ordering dinner here pretty soon.
Yeah, I was just going to recommend that we take a 5-minute break at this point.
Thanks.
Okay.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back. Bradford, the next property, please.
Next up is a notice of intent for 141 Absagami Run, Amy and Anthony Tertrone, map 12E, parcel 23-A20, SE 10-3718, dock and stair reconstruction.
Okay. Who do we possibly have? I see.
We have Dennis Moran again with Ty and Bond.
Oh, okay. Hi.
And ironically enough, last time Dan, when we were in front of the commission, Dan Chermickley presented this because I was out of the office. So,
So,
Guys are interchangeable.
before you get started, we have not heard this since February. So our memory
Yes.
is not terrific, hence, we are sort of hoping that you will kind of quickly walk us through everything, because I have a million notes on this, but some of them make no sense anymore.
sure. Let me kind of skip around. I'll give a recap. I think that would be beneficial to everybody. And then kind of,
Exactly.
I'll give you a recap of the overall project. And then I think it would be probably best if I slide the drawings over. Can you see the screen with the drawings
We're
set?
seeing lots of
Perfect.
different screens going by, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is again, thank you, everybody in the commission. This is an existing pier that that our client would like to replace generally in kind. Very, very minor improvements, a slight realignment, and the improvements are due to just to bring it up basically to current code. So the pier itself is in poor shape. If I go to the pictures, and it's very old. So they're looking to replace the pier in generally the same footprint. Keep the existing shack house up here on the bank, replace the stairs, and replace the floats. So the project has been designed to have seasonal floats as well, to comply with the Chatham regulations. Do you want me to go into more depth than that, or is this good enough recap?
You can stop there, and
Okay.
we can ask questions.
Or I could kind of give a recap of where we've been since this has been in front of the
Okay,
commission too.
that's great.
So, as you previously mentioned, this project was in front of the commission back in January when we filed with the commission. And then since then, because it is a non-conforming structure, we had to go in front of the ZBA to obtain a special permit. That permit was granted in July of this year. We provided some updated information to the commission a few weeks ago. So the changes since the commission has previously seen this project is we added a zoning table to the drawing set to account for the special permit. We added some distances to the pier to the adjacent lot lines. It is not identical because we realigned the pier to provide some additional distance between the lot lines to make it slightly more conforming. We're talking about a couple feet. It's not significant. We added some profile cross sections to show the rope guard edge for the railings, and the float has changed from one 10 by 24 float to 3 8 by 10s to match the existing system and to make it a little bit more removable because it's a seasonally removable system. And based on some comments from the commission, the anchor pipes for the piles will be cut flush with the mud line because they're seasonal. So these changes increase the impacts to the coastal beach by 2 square feet. And the last bullet is during the Chapter 91 process, because of the limited height of the pier, there was a request to add staircases on either side of the pier to allow pedestrian access or public access. So that's what the additional 2 square feet is. of impacts. So since the commission has seen this, the minor modification from Waterways was issued. The PCN, we actually received comments this morning. Those comments are outlined below, and they were generally consistent with the comments provided by DMF, with the minor difference in the aspect ratio for height and width. We've provided comments back to Department of Marine Fisheries to respond to their comments. In our opinion, although we understand their intent, to meet the requirements would require dredging. And given the fact that this is a removable float, we don't recommend dredging to comply with the recommendations of DMF. It's just going to increase the impacts, and given that it's seasonally a pier, we don't believe it's the best approach. So kind of now stepping back to the project overview, it's an existing 4-foot wide by 60-foot wooden pier structure that adjoins to the coastal bank. It's already licensed. We requested a variance for a temporary stage and stockpiling within the 50-foot no disturb zone. And again, at the existing conditions, the pier is in, it's aged, but it's functioned well over the history. So they're looking to replace it. One of the comments we received previously when we're in front of the commission was the spacing of the deck boards. We are proposing to space those out at least 3/4 of the inch for the pier section to comply with that. So overall, the limit of work is about 1/3 of an acre. That includes the temporary staging area above, just for temporary construction access. That area will be restored to the pre-construction conditions. And access is provided by the two Trones driveway and 100% on their parcel. All this work will be done, by hand or small boats. Don't anticipate a barge. Fairly small construction project. So we have a couple cross sections if anybody on the commission has some questions. So I'm happy to get into some of the more details if you would like. And I'll turn it over to the board.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Eric?
Yeah, we talked about those permanent anchors. Are you still using those? Or because it's supposed to be a seasonal structure. So then you're kind of changing the way that things are done if it's not a temporary structure, if you're going to leave. It's kind of like where you put an umbrella in, right? Leaving them in the bottom, like if you have an umbrella stand, an anchor.
That's a decent analogy. I would agree with that there's a sleeve, below the mud line that allows the post to be installed.
I don't know, has that ever been done before?
I don't know.
I believe personally, yes, I have personally done that. It's similar to what I believe is out there currently. It just allows a contractor in the next season not to impact the bed.
Oh, so it's already there.
Yeah.
Well,
We're going to relocate them or install new ones, but it's not significantly different than what is currently there now. So they would not be visible. They would be at the mud line, and they would be cleared out. Just in the goal of leaving the pipes permanently installed below the mud line or at the mud line is to limit the disturbance of driving piles. So it's a sleeve to drop the seasonal pile in and out of. So we're not creating turbidity and just to make installation much quicker.
Okay. Anything else, Eric?
Did that answer your question?
yes, thank you. No.
Yeah,
Anybody
okay.
else? Bob?
Got a couple. So do you put a cap on those in the off-season?
They certainly could be capped, or they could go out there and vacuum them out. But I do like the capped approach. I have not used a cap before, but it's certainly something that you could thread the galvanized post and cap it. I think that's a decent idea, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob.
A new invention.
Okay.
I should probably patent that then, huh?
I was gonna say, patent that right now.
Okay, another question. You're going to plant below the stairs as well after they're installed?
I don't think so.
With like some kind of a conservation mix, seeding mix, or something like that?
Yeah, any disturbance in the area of the stairs, there shouldn't be a significant amount, but that area will be restored and planted.
With the
If there's any damage
conservation
to-
seed mix
With
or?
with the conservation seed
Okay.
mix. Yep. That
And
is-
how about before and after pictures of the marsh? Could we have those?
So the application has the existing conditions as of, I mean, it's a little bit dated. You know, there is a substantial salt marsh in the area. So as part of the contractor will be responsible for documenting, and we're happy to meet with the commission, the agent out there to document the existing conditions and then have a follow-up after construction is complete to confirm that, one, it wasn't impacted, and if it was, to be restored accordingly.
Okay, that's all I had, thank you.
Okay, Janet?
I just want to follow up a little bit with what Bob had asked. So planting beneath the stairs, in the way, where they're proposed to be, I don't see that there's room. Which raises the question of what is the height of that stairway over the coastal bank? And is there even room down there for anything to grow?
So there is the stairs that were required by Chapter 91, as I mentioned, do have some additional impacts to coastal bank. So there is room to plant around the stairs, but it's a balance between to meet the requirements of Chapter 91 versus the additional impacts to the resource area.
Can you explain
know,
that for a little bit more detail? What are the additional impacts from Chapter 91 requirements that are impacting the ability to support the bank?
Sure. So Chapter 91 to provide pedestrian access through or over or under the pier, they're requiring an additional set of stairs that were already licensed to be constructed on the east side. So let me go back to this photo, right? Zoom out a little bit. There's only one access point up here to allow pedestrians to cross. They're looking for continuous access over the pier, this existing condition.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay.
So,
By installing more stairs, there is a additional impact.
am I looking at the plan correctly that those stairs are, looking at the cross-section, they are partially within the marsh itself? They're mostly on the beach, but I mean, I can't, no, maybe not. Maybe
The
they just
stairs
end at
are-
the marsh line.
There may be a small piece over the marsh line if we zoom way in.
Yeah,
Um,
but not much. That doesn't bother me, and I
No.
look at the stairs at the cross-section. The lower section of the stairs is fine, and I would expect that you'd be able to plant underneath that, and given that it's a north-south, I think, orientation,
Yeah,
that,
these stairs are coming in and out of the
that should be
beach.
able to be, it's on that landing and the upper stairs that the elevation seems inadequate for anything to grow under there.
If I'm understanding your comment correctly, you're concerned that the stairs will shade, there's not enough
Yep.
room
Yep.
between the soil and
Yep,
the top
yeah,
of
and
the
I saw
stairs
the
to allow anything
DMF
to
letter,
grow.
and we do often go around and around with applicants about the, 1.5 to 1 requirement, and these are 3 feet wide, I think, oh,
Yeah,
3 feet
I
wide.
have down 3 feet.
Yeah, so, that would get you to 4.5 feet of elevation, and I saw that, but what you were talking about with DMF had more to do with the seasonal part and the pier. But I'm just looking at the vegetation that can grow on the bank and the elevation above the bank and whether there's adequate light.
So so there was 2 comments. There was the dredge from the Department of Marine Fisheries. There was the dredging comment, and then there was also a comment on the elevation of the pier and the aspect ratio. And the taller the pier goes, the much larger the piling has to get, and the additional impacts to the coastal bank. So we're trying to balance the impacts out in the water by making the pier lower to the water while not impacting the coastal bank and the salt marsh, and trying to match what is currently out there to the best of our ability. So we're trying to balance everybody's interests while not making a pier that doesn't fit in with the neighborhood or fit within the existing Chapter 91 license.
So in that initial, this first landing and the initial stairway that crosses over the bank and goes down to the second, at which point I'm fine because I can see that there's adequate elevation. Will you be able to plant under that anything that is going to be able to hold the bank, stabilize it, prevent erosion, and survive, and get enough light?
Couple different, I think we could certainly look into a species that would be able to grow there. It may not be consistent with what is currently out there, but certainly something we can look at, or have a follow-up conversation with the agent to find something that is suitable to restore that area to the best of the abilities while still providing access up and over the pier.
Okay, so you can take a look at that and if need be, have some consultation about what can be planted there.
Yes, but the intent of the project is to, one, install those stairs to comply with Chapter 91 and stabilize the bank.
Right,
To
well, that's the second
minimize
part is what,
erosion.
what I'm focusing on. All right, so you'll come back with some proposals about what can be planted under there and we'll approve it or talk some more. Thank you, that's all I have.
I have a couple things. Can you tell me why you have a 4-foot by 60-foot timber pier that's seasonal, and then the gangway is 3 feet by 18, then 15, then 15? I had down that you were doing 45 feet, which would be, now it seems it's 48, but I'm also curious about why the timber pier is 4 feet when the gangway's 3.
And then goes to 4.
And then you go
Yeah.
to the
Why the
floats.
narrow part, yeah. The gangway is narrower.
But can you speak to why the pier is 4 feet and the gangway's 3 feet, and why they can't all be 3 feet?
We're staying within the existing footprint of the pier. A pier that
Okay.
is that long and that narrow doesn't typically provide access. Like a 3-foot wide pier is pretty limited given the length of a 60-foot long pier.
Okay.
It would be fairly difficult for 2 people to pass on a pier that's only 3 feet wide, given the short length of the gangway. We're okay with a 3-foot wide gangway in that limited location.
And I just want to be sure, the number of posts that you'll be using are the same as were previously used? You said they may be moved a bit, but you're not putting in extra posts, correct?
No, the number of posts are the same. And they're, again, timber posts, so they're slightly dimensionally different. The existing posts are 4x6, so they're rectangular. These posts will probably be round.
Okay, but
So they can
you're
slide
not
into the
putting in
pipes.
more posts than are already there?
One,
That's
two,
my
three.
point right now. Okay, and then I had a note that you will rake for shellfish before the posts are installed. Is that still
Yep.
true?
Yep, but that's, so if the commission could make that a condition in the order, that would be
Oh, we will.
appreciated. That way the contractor,
Oh, it'll be in there.
There's some
Don't
control of the
worry. I just
contractor.
want to make sure that you're still agreeing that that's happening. You know, I don't like to put things in orders that I haven't mentioned.
I think it's a condition that should be included.
Oh, it will be. Okay, thank you. I think that's it. Anybody else have anything?
I had one note that hasn't been hit from the
Okay.
last time we met on this. There was a question of whether any of the material, particularly possibly the gangway, could be aluminum instead of wood. I don't know if that's something that you went back and discussed or not.
So the gangway is absolutely going to be aluminum.
Great.
Okay.
Oops.
So I think we're going to continue this in order to have you evaluate and clarify the plantings part of everything. I don't know that we had anything else, did we?
We can't finish it without, they can just show the planting at the end.
They could,
And so,
sure. Sure. If everybody agrees that we can go to an order, we can. And you provide that before the order, we're dealing with the order. So you will need to provide that information.
Okay, so we will provide follow-up information with the type and number of plantings under the proposed I'll call them the proposed Chapter 91 access stairs.
Correct. And how soon do you think you could get that to us?
How about Friday?
Okay, then we could continue it to, if you hold true to that. The orders are already written for the September 10th, so we could do it for September 10th. How does that sound?
That sounds great, since I'm already going to be here on the 10th anyways, so
Right. All right.
works
then,
well for me.
If we could have a motion to continue to the 10th for an order.
I move that we continue 141 Absegami Run to September 10th, 2025 for an order of conditions.
second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next one, Bradford, please.
Next up is a notice of intent for 70 Sears Point Road. Suzanne.
Well, we have to do the motion to continue 784.
You're correct. 784 Orleans Road, Town of Chatham, map 11J, parcel 66, SE 10 3729. Enlargement of boat and trailer parking lot within land subject to coastal storm flowage. Relocate historic communication tower within buffer zone to coastal bank.
I move that we continue 784 Orleans Road to September 24th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, now the next one, Bradford, please.
Now we're on a notice of intent for 70 Sears Point Road. Suzanne and Greg Shorten, map 11A1, parcel 7-5, SE 10-3735. Demolish and renovate a portion of an existing dwelling, addition, 2 decks, viewing deck, rinse station, and mitigation.
Okay. How are you?
Good afternoon. Tim Santos from Merrill Engineers representing the applicant. With your permission, I'll share my screen. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Alrighty. Property is located at 70 Sears Point Road, currently developed with an existing single-family home, attached garage, gravel driveway. We have a deck, patio, associated landscape and lawn areas. There's a set of steps that comes down the bank with a boardwalk and a portion of a pier. The board might remember this project. I was before you probably a month ago for an RDA for the repair of this walkway and steps down here. The resource area is on or within 100 feet of the property. There's a salt marsh to the south of the house, coastal beach, coastal dune, coastal bank, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. I'm going to switch over to the proposed plan. The applicant is before you proposing to renovate the existing home as well as add a few additions and decks. There's an addition to the east of the home in this area right here where my hand is moving, as well as right here to the west, and then to the south, which is currently in an area where there's an existing deck and brick patio. They're also proposing new decks to the western side of the property as well, with a rinse station, relocation of a rinse station, and some AC units. We have provided, I should say there's no increase in flow on this project. It will remain the same number of bedrooms. We have provided some coverage calculation tables on the plan in the 0 to 50 buffer zone, as well as the 50 to 100 foot buffer zone. There's an increase of 157 square feet in the 0 to 50, and there's an increase of 232 square feet in the 50 to 100. So we're required to plant 546 square feet of mitigation plantings, and we're proposing 620 square feet. These plantings are along the bank or on the bank, shown here in the hatched area. The mitigation and restoration planting plan was prepared by Crawford Land Management, and I'm going to turn it over to them in a minute. But there's one more item I forgot to talk about. The applicant is also proposing to install a fence. Basically comes off this northwest corner of the house, comes down and comes to the top of the bank, and it'll come off the middle portion of the addition on the eastern side of the house over to the property line and down. This fence is being proposed to help, I'll say, corral the homeowner's pet so that it does not escape the property. It's a small dog, and they want to just make sure it doesn't escape. I will now stop sharing, turn it over to Jen. I believe Jen's on, or it might be Dylan. I'm not sure if he's still here, but I'm going to turn it over to them and let them discuss their mitigation plan, and then we'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Hi, yes, Dylan Lance, Crawford Land Management. This is the mitigation plan as was.
We're having
shown.
trouble hearing you.
Is this any better?
That's much better.
Okay. Dylan Lance with Crawford Land Management. This is the mitigation plan as was just shown. So as Merrill engineers and land surveyors calculated, 546 square feet of mitigation were required by the regulations, and we are proposing 620 square feet of new area to be planted with native species. This includes the removal of a set of steps down here. They're in-grade at the top and then raised on the bottom. And that will be filled in with bayberry and chokeberry, as well as areas on the top of the bank where there'll be some invasive management. and that area will be filled in with sweet fern and native roses. And all of the mitigation will be seeded with a mix of native grasses and wildflowers. These areas were chosen, well, because there's steps there and because there's a higher percentage of invasive species near the top of the bank. And yeah, we believe that replacing those invasives with native species will provide a net benefit to the biodiversity and wildlife habitat on the bank itself. And me and Jen are here for any questions on this part of the project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody want to start? Eric?
Yeah, can you show me, again, put your plan up, as far as where the fences are going?
Sure, not a problem. Let me just zoom in here for you. So
Over
if
here.
you see where my hand is moving on the screen?
Yeah, on the, yep,
Yep. So this is the northeast corner of the house. It's coming off here,
Yep.
coming down, basically kind of just inside that edge of clearing on the western side of the house. And then on the eastern side, it would come off the middle of the addition over to the property line and then basically run down that property line into this vegetation here. We're not proposing to remove any trees. It would be any type of minimal vegetation removal in that area for the installation of the fence.
the only thing is in the past, because if we change it now, we'll hear about it. So what about wildlife movement in the area? Is it gonna be completely enclosed? What about the south side?
There's nothing along the south side here being proposed. It's just
So the dogs
basically-
can't go north, but they can go south.
Well,
They can run down the beach.
They wouldn't be able to run down the bank. They'd have to come down the steps if they're going to get down in that area.
Well, the problem, if it's a small dog and.
It's a gate at the top of the steps.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the mitigation planting, I guess they can go down there in between the plants, but but in any case, I think we require a little bit of space under the fence for small critters.
Yep.
Like maybe 4 inches or so. Now, are you proposing mitigation or restoration for mitigation? What is mitigation and what is restoration?
So, respectfully through the chair, I could answer that and also provide a comment in terms of the fence. So the reversing, the fence isn't sequestering any sort of wildlife habitat area. It simply goes into it at the top so that there's no movement like side to side on the upland, but the entire bank corridor that's vegetated is still connected with adjacent properties and is not cut off from wildlife or restricting wildlife movement.
No, that's fine. I understand that.
Yep.
But you still,
Okay,
you
good.
still will need a little bit of space under the fence because if small critters go up the hill, then where are they gonna run to? They can't get through the fence on the north sides.
Understood. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that it wasn't connecting through the vegetation on the coastal bank or anything like that. So,
Right, I got that.
in terms of the mitigation component, it actually kind of comes in the form of both removal of structure essentially on the coastal bank with the in-grade staircase, as well as some invasive species management at
Well,
the top.
that's
and
the
a little-
mitigation, correct? That's the mitigation.
Yeah, and a little bit of lawn removal. It's kind of a mashup of 3 different things to provide that square footage, if that's helpful.
Well, shouldn't the square footage be separate, mitigation to kind of separate what is mitigation and what is restoration?
in this case, a portion of restoration is being offered as mitigation where we have kind of a real concentration of invasives kind of in a line right along the top of the coastal bank there.
I mean, is that something that we
They're
don't,
really just calling it on the plan, it's called a mitigation plan. So it's not being called a restoration plan. So,
usually with mitigation, it requires to, you know, to give something back, to pull back a little bit from the top of the bank. You know, restoration is wonderful and everything, but it's not really, I don't know, the way I look at it, it's not really mitigation.
I think they're calling it mitigation because of the square footage that they're putting in at the top of the bank.
So, oh, it is new, it's not restoration.
No, they're calling it mitigation.
But that means it's already vegetated. The area is already
Or
vegetated.
it's lawn that's being changed into.
Oh, lawn, yeah, that's fine. Lawn is great, so that's the mitigation.
When we look at projects like this, we always consider the existing vegetation that is there as well as where we can find other opportunities. And I've always, I guess, had the thought that removing lawn and installing native species doesn't really do a whole lot of good if directly behind them is a whole bunch of invasive species. And so in our experience in doing this, we found that it is a more effective way of providing wildlife habitat and you know, better filtration for stormwater runoff, things of that nature if the vegetated area that's there is healthy and robust. So in this particular case, that's why we chose a kind of a combination of techniques, so to speak, to comprise that 600 square feet. The removal of structure on the coastal bank with the restoration of that area once it's removed. There is a small amount of lawn removal at the top that does bolster the vegetated buffer in that area along the top of the bank, as well as areas where we have a high concentration of invasives. In this line of work, I would prefer to see areas that are highly concentrated with invasives replaced with natives than I would to see natives backed up against them to not really do anything to stem the seed source or the spread.
How come there's a space between the two mitigation and restoration areas?
Because that area is vegetated with natives.
Oh, okay.
Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Hope that helps explain the thought process behind why we proposed what we did.
All right, anybody?
I have a question.
Elise?
I'm a little concerned about the extensiveness of the fencing in the yard, and the question I have is related to the material. I don't remember if you specified what the material of the fence was going to be?
I don't think we did, Jen. Do you know that answer by any chance?
I don't off the top of my head. I'm not sure if Dylan has any input on that either, or Alex even.
I'm gonna just check my notes real quick. I might be able to find that information.
While you're doing that, Dylan, I'll just jump in. Alex Bolzak with the Schneeberger Collective, the architect of record. I don't have any information on the fence. That's really been more of a civil side of thing, unfortunately. There's a portion of existing white picket fence. I don't believe they're looking for something as dense as that.
We can talk to the applicant. We have to come back before you after we go to ZBA anyway, so we can get the details on what's being proposed. That's not a problem.
Okay. I have a couple things. So on Crawford's plan, of course, it says the mitigation is NDZ is 157. On Merrill's plans, you say it's 95, but then there's a lawn and landscaping 162 square feet reduction. So I don't see 157 listed. And then in the outer aura, you say Crawford says 232, And on the Merrill one, it says 215. And again, lawn and landscape reduction is negative 215 square feet. So, and then at the bottom, then you come out to, you're doing 95 as the square feet in the NDZ, not 157. And you're doing 215, and Crawford says 232. And I heard you say different numbers when you spoke about the project at the beginning. So that's just one thing. I am concerned about the fencing and the amount of fencing, and the fact that you're very much in the NDZ. Also, I think, well, I know you need to apply for a variance, so we don't have a variance letter nor the alternatives analysis that it needs to be done with the variance letter. And I didn't see a percentage of coverage in the outer aura, which we also need. And then you mentioned vista pruning. And viewing deck, vista pruning, and yet I don't see anything that shows where the vista that you're pruning is, how it's demarcated. You have, I mean, that activity timeline says in 2026 and 2028, there's going to be vista pruning, but we don't have, I don't know where. So those are some things that I'm going to need for the next meeting. Anybody have anything else? Then, yeah.
I'll just underscore that fence in the no disturb zone needs to be pulled as far out of there as possible. I understand that you need room for dogs, but you've got your fencing in a whole lot of this property. And I think that you can get by with fencing less of it and moving more of it to the outer aura and out of the no disturb zone. I also wonder about what's listed on the site plan as the wooden fence, which is essentially a groin down on the beach. There are two of them. They look like they've been there for decades. I don't know whether they've ever been permitted. I doubt it. They look pretty old, but if there's any evidence of that, I'd like to see it. And I'd like to ask whether or not they can be taken out.
Yes, that would be great mitigation.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to need to continue this.
Just before we continue it, can I just say one thing, if you don't mind? This is
Yeah.
Tim from Merrill. So I think you might be looking at an older plan with the 95 and the 215.
Okay, that's the only one that's the most recent I was given.
All right, I apologize. There were plans submitted. I believe it was around 7/27. So that's the plan that I have on the screen right now with the 157
It is different.
and the 232, which match
Yep.
the mitigation plan.
This
So
one I'm
that-
looking at, oh, that's Crawford. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, this one's July 1st. Okay, well, I wasn't given the new one, so, all right. At least that's okay. All right.
So that might be some of the confusion there. And then just the percentage of coverage where?
In the outer aura, we
Yep, in
allow
the inner-
35% coverage.
Okay, and where do you want me to put that in the buffer zone? I'm just trying to figure out where you want it on the plan.
It's, the outer aura is the 50 to 100.
Sure.
So we've got a coverage table added to that.
Put it to the coverage.
Do you want me to
So,
place it in the
We
coverage
need
table
to know
itself?
the percentage of coverage in the 50 to 100 buffer.
And you can put that in the coverage table.
You can put it
Yeah,
anywhere,
that's what I'm
but
asking.
it needs to be someplace.
Not a problem.
Okay. I would like to continue this to, at the earliest, September 24th. Or we could do October 1st, 8th, or 22nd.
I'm fine with the 24th, as long as Jen's fine with that,
Okay,
and as long as the board's fine with that.
all right.
I move that.
Bob,
Oh,
wait.
sorry, Bob.
has,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. It should be a correction too on the address. It's actually 70 Sears Point Lane, not Road. And that should be on all the documentation because there is no
catch.
70 Sears Point Road
Right.
in Chatham.
Good catch, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So check all your documents, please. All
Yep, we'll update all of them.
right, so
I
Elise, please.
move that we continue 70 Sears Point Lane to September 24th, 2025.
Second.
Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, the next one, Bradford, please.
Thank you.
Next one's the continuance for 20 L Street, Karen Los Coco, map 10F,
okay.
parcel not R9, SE 103730, remove and replace pond access stairs. Applicant has requested a continuance to September 10th.
I move we continue 20 L Street to September 10th, 2025.
Second.
Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, the next, please.
All right, the next one is a notice of intent for 22 Taylor's Pond Road, Dean Ryback, trustee, map 5C, parcel J5, SE 10-3741, demolition of existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling and driveway within land subject to coastal storm flowage and coastal bank. Additionally, construction of a sewage disposal system within the buffer zone to a coastal bank.
David Clark, Clark Engineering, on behalf of Dean Ryback, who's not here, but he's on the line somewhere, I think. So the commission asked us to go back and take a look at the project and see if we could reduce some of the site coverages, and we believe we've done what you asked. Previously, we were at 75.2% coverage in the outer or. We eliminated 377 square feet to get us down to 60.7. And Michael Seekin is here to talk about how we arrived at those numbers. And just a reminder that, the reason why there is an expansion in the outer or is we trying to get the project out of the floodplain. And the real resource area that we're dealing with is the floodplain. There is a coastal bank on the property, but we believe that was created when the house was built several decades ago. The mitigation plan that Michael's going to present shows a conversion of lawn area within the floodplain to more robust plantings. And that alone is a benefit to the floodplain in that in FEMA's mathematical model for wave run-up, one of the inputs is the nature and the type and density of vegetation in the floodplain. And some of the worst vegetation is a maintained lawn, and the second worst are trees, in that trees with no understory, in that does nothing to sequester wave action. So the more robust plantings you can have in the floodplain, it helps to knock down waves. So for this project, by moving the house as far out of the floodplain as we can, and having a FEMA compliant foundation where the basement slab or the crawl space slab is above the floodplain, there's no sources of storm debris as it applies to your regulations and performance standards for the floodplain. The plantings that are proposed serve two purposes under your performance standards. One, it will reduce wave action within the floodplain and also reduce the deflection of waves to abutting properties. So we believe there's an overall benefit to the resource area itself by this project. And again, Michael's here to talk about the changes to the mitigation and landscape plan, which is where all the reductions took place.
Okay, thank you. All right, Michael,
Good afternoon.
could you,
Commission,
you're very light.
Okay.
Oh, better.
Better, okay. Good afternoon. Mike Segan, and with me is Rachel Meyer from our office. We're landscape architects on the project. As Dave mentioned, we've made a significant amount of changes to the plan in response to all the comments we got from the commission at the last meeting. This plan reflects those revisions. Unfortunately, when you look at a plan like this, it's hard to tell what has been changed. So what we did is we completed a plan that kind of highlighted the various changes. I'd like to go through that very quickly with the commission. Go to the next one, Rachel, please. What's shown in blue here are the various changes that we put together.
I don't even know where Taylor's Pond Road is.
The first two respond to the commission's requests to reduce as much as possible the coverage in that outer aura area. The very first one that I wanted to mention is the reduction of the driveway. And we pulled off well over one parking space in the driveway. And instead of the pavement for the driveway, we now have plantings and green space, and that amounted to a savings of about 235 square feet of coverage. The second piece, and it was suggested by the commission, we've removed the stairway, the kind of large stairway that went up to the adjacent parcel, and relocated that to the existing opening that's there now, which requires a lot less steps. The stairway that we removed, we actually removed 12 steps, a fairly extensive side slope to the steps, and stone landing in the walk at the bottom. And in their place, we've added native plantings. So that's been, I think, a significant change. The third change is not in the outer aura, but the NDZ, and we removed just a small section of the wall. That very last section, we felt we could grade that out. It would also eliminate some of the impact on an existing tree that's there as well. The fourth change is we're leaving the 3 pines that we were removing in that far corner. We are leaving 3 snags for wildlife. It was suggested by a commission member. This is actually a good spot on the property to do that, being in the proposed native grassland and shrub meadow area. The fifth change related to the species selection. We had a discussion about the native cultivars. We've eliminated the native cultivar, and any native cultivars that we had located in the inner R, and we've replaced that cultivar with a native plant, a different native plant. And we now have 100% native in the NDZ as required. And we're almost at 100% now in the outer OR as well with the changes. And just a comment, we had some discussion about the hydrangeas. The 2 hydrangeas we are showing are on the commission's list of native plants, and we send in copies to, I think, Paul, just to confirm that. And we could pull that up if the commission would like to see that in the listing, but it's in your planting. So we just wanted to confirm that. And then the 6th area of change is we were asked to clarify, and we've clarified that there's no permanent irrigation on the project. The irrigation put in would just be temporary. And we've updated the notes to update the calculations and the mitigation calculations. And then the 7th change is just the mitigation calculations. And actually, Rachel, if you go to the next page, that those calculations have gone from actually reduce what's required because of the reduction in the coverage down to 1,686 square feet are required, and we are providing 2,032 square feet. And as we mentioned before, in addition to the mitigation area, all the plantings that are added within the 50-foot NDZ are all native material. And as you move into the outer aura, a vast percentage of those are native as well. So that's a quick summary, and wanted to move quickly here because of the length of the meeting tonight, this afternoon. So
I appreciate that. Somebody's speaking, and I don't know who it is, that keeps coming in. So if you could mute, and if you'd like to be recognized, raise your hand, please. Commissioners, anything that you want to ask or say? Okay, I'll start. So, you still have a rinse station in the NDZ?
Pardon me?
You have the rinse station in the NDZ?
We talked about that, and we're 150 feet or more from the salt marsh. So there's really no resource area it impacts any less by moving it. Just because it's close to or over the NDZ line, it has the same impacts on the lot. It really doesn't matter where it is on the lot because we're so far away from the salt pond. And there is a rinse station there now in that general location.
I know. I was hoping that maybe we could get it as far out of the NDZ, as far back in the NDZ as possible. I also understand, I know Bill Riley can't be here today, but there's been, I guess today, some discussion about this whole Taylor Pond and then the Lot 4 Cockle Cove and our concerns about mitigation for Cockle Cove is on Taylor Pond and all of that. And from what I understand, there's talk of having restriction. So I think commissioners can ask questions today, but I think we're going to have to continue this.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Can we continue them both to the same date?
Yeah,
so we
that's-
can look at it holistically?
Our
'Cause this
team
is-
meeting yesterday, it's like, if we're going to continue, let's get on the
yeah,
same
and I
page
don't
with both
remember
properties.
when
Yeah, absolutely.
Cockle Cove is. It's probably the 10th, isn't it?
I think it's been
I think it's the
scheduled for
10th.
the 10th.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Which we're
Yes.
really heavy with NOIs that day. So if you wanted, we could continue. I can't continue this to the 10th. I've already got 10.
So,
So
be happy to continue to the
24th and maybe
24th and-
requested continuance for Cockle Cove.
Absolutely.
And then we'd be on the same page.
Yep, that'll give Bill Riley some more time to work out the
Exactly.
details with Paul, who's
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
So, yes, yeah, we just initiated that yesterday.
I just got it 11:30 this morning, so
Yeah,
obviously
and-
no time to,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just sort of informational for me, so.
And Bill was just reaching out to Paul to initiate the discussion on that. And Bill not being able to be here today, but we
Right.
just wanted to put the bug in his ear and start that process.
So unless there's some
I just
pressing.
had a quick question.
Go ahead.
Did you ever introduce the idea about the porous concrete for the driveway? Wouldn't that be a huge mitigating amount?
Well, they're already doing cobble or
Oh.
pervious.
We're not paving it.
Yeah, the water really pours, it really perks through cobblestone.
No, I know, but, yeah,
Jesus.
but, no, well,
It gets
it's
through the cracks,
yeah,
right? You
Yeah,
ever see-
exactly, so,
Do you ever see
yes,
them
it would be
construct a cobblestone
fine.
driveway,
Oh, I
dry lane?
know.
Cement, they're
I
wet
know.
laid and, I
But-
know that.
What a joke.
They're saying pervious, so, yes, I mean, if we can have the pervious concrete or whatever,
I mean, that would
that'd
be,
be great.
wouldn't that be huge?
It would,
It would be better than pervious pavers still.
yeah.
Also, since we're going to come back, you're going to be coming back, I know that the question had been asked about documenting some sort of an easement agreement between the two lots for the mitigation. That also includes, though, the town lot, because you're going to be relocating the driveway and doing mitigation on town property. So,
Well, we don't need an easement to
what do you,
cross
how do you,
town property.
well, you've got mitigation going in
We
there.
have mitigation on there, yeah, to basically restore the area where the old driveway was.
Right, but
So
do
it's
you need
just-
any kind of authorization to do that on town-owned property? Just putting it out there, just so we don't lose that detail.
I would
Ask
imagine
Bill.
I can check with Rob at DPW. You need a permit from DPW to install a driveway. Imagine you need a permit to close up a driveway.
Yeah, and maybe he can provide whatever authorization is needed to do that work on that property and install the mitigation plants. Okay, that's,
Okay,
came to me
then,
recently.
I think we can go to, motion.
24th? I move that we continue 22 Taylor's Pond Road to September 24th, 2025.
Second.
Bob,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Janet,
aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, thank you. Bradford, next one, please.
Next is notice of intent for 552 Shore Road, Francesco Scatone and Judith Gibbons, map 16G, parcel 16T3, SE 103750, residential additions and mitigation plantings.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see Michael, so, hi.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the commission, Attorney Michael Ford. I'm here with Raul Rivera and the rest of the team representing the applicants. I would like to simply address a preliminary issue that's obviously related to the project before Raul makes the presentation on the work in the notice of intent that's before you. My clients bought the property in June. And later discovered, actually the team discovered when they were retained to start to put together the plans for this project, they were asked, the team was asked by the zoning office to make sure that we didn't have a zoning issue. And in the course of doing that, we did a great deal of work looking at the coastal bank to make sure that the access to the coastal bank was pre-existing in terms of zoning. We were able to show the zoning board that, and I mean the zoning staff that, to their satisfaction, and they confirmed that no zoning was needed. But in the course of that, team members noticed that there had been what appeared to be unauthorized cutting along the bank. And so we advised the property owners of the situation. They were unaware of it. They've never lived in the property after they bought it in June. The house is in a pretty difficult shape. And we advised them that even though they weren't involved in the cutting and didn't have knowledge of it prior to their purchase, that the Wetlands Protection Act is really a strict liability statute. And as the new owners, they're liable for the unauthorized cutting, and in terms of a regulatory standpoint. And therefore, we recommended that they have us retain people to start a process to get a restoration plan going that we could bring into the commission. They authorize that. They want to get this issue resolved. And we're in the process of now through Katrine Higgins at Bartlett, putting together an entire inventory on the bank, which we intend to then come up with a restoration plan and present it to the commission. I reported all of this to Paul Whiteman as soon as it became clear to me exactly where we were procedurally. And Paul notified Bradford, and Bradford was in touch with me via email and indicated that perhaps the way to handle this would be to continue this hearing today after our presentation and then come in with a restoration plan when it was ready and add it to this. Our dilemma with that process is that we're on a very tight time schedule for a lot of reasons, some of them personal to the family. They really need to be in the house with the work that's before you and the notice of intent by June. And we see the restoration plan as something that will take several months to put together, and even though we've already started the inventory. And so what we'd ask the commission to consider going forward is that we be permitted to bring in an amendment to whatever order of conditions that you issue for the work that's before you today, which will be in the nature of a restoration plan, which our consultants, Bartlett, will be working on with Bradford, hopefully to get it in a spot where staff thinks it's appropriate to come before you, and then we'll file for an amendment and come in and have a full hearing on it, and then add it to what we hope at that point is the existing order of conditions. So, sorry to be so long-winded on it, Madam Chair, but that's what we'd ask you to consider in terms of moving forward with that issue. It is something that, while my clients were not involved in it, did not have knowledge of it when they bought it, they understand that it's a strict liability statute and they are responsible for solving it, and they have directed the team to take all measures to do that. And as I say, we've retained Katrine, and she's putting together a restoration plan. So I offer that at the outset before we start the hearing on the merits on what's before you on the NOI, with a hope, Madam Chair, that the commission would accept that procedural process.
All right, thank you. I had been made aware of that and appreciate it, and I thank Bradford for the work he's done initially to figure out what was done and get this process going. So having said that,
So one further thing, Madam Chair, I forgot to tell you, Bradford and I did discuss that there ought to be some time period in which our agreement to bring in the amendment we should offer. And
Right.
Speaking to our team, we think it's something that we can easily bring in by the end of October.
Okay. That is fine.
So with that, if with your permission, Madam Chair, I'll turn it over to Raul Rivera to do the actual presentation on the work that is being sought under the NOI.
That would be terrific. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to Michael Ford. For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape Islands Engineering, representing the applicant. And as Michael mentioned, Katrine is here also in case there's any questions regarding what violations have taken place before ownership by the current applicant.
We actually won't be discussing the violation at all today. What's before you, and given the time, we're just here for the NOI, and
Understood.
that's it.
Understood. So the project before you is for additions to an existing house. The existing house is over 100 years old. And the new owners just want to improve on the house and do a couple of additions. These additions do fall in the outer buffer zone. And the wetlands within or 100 feet of the property are land under the ocean, land containing shellfish, coastal beach. There is a bit of a salt marsh over to the eastern corner. There's a coastal bank, and there is land subject to coastal stone flowage. The additions are taking place between 84 feet and 100 feet of the top of the coastal bank. We submitted the calculations in the supplemental package for NOI applications that breaks down the square footages in the 0 to 50 buffer zone, which is the no-touch zone, and the 50 to 100-foot outer zone, which is the project that we have before you. Overall, this project results in roughly 149 square feet of additional square footage of development on hard surfaces. That in itself requires 149 square feet of proposed mitigation planting. Something that this work requires is that the ornamental planting beds all along the back of the house are going to be removed to perform these additions. Part of this ornamental planting is not going to be put back as planting beds. 170 square feet of planting bed is going to be converted to lawn to access the new rear back patio and porch. So there's an addition of 149 square feet of hardscape and an addition of 170 square feet of lawn area in the outer aura. What we propose is 360 square foot of mitigation. That accounts for the 149 square feet of hardscape increase plus the 170 square feet of lawn area. This 360 square feet is currently lawn areas. So we're removing 300 square feet of lawn area. The exact location of this is right at the top of the bank. So we're proposing this mitigation at the closest location on the bank, removing lawn areas. And we give additional mitigation because 149 plus 170 adds up to about 320 square feet, and we're proposing 360 square feet. So we have additional mitigation planting that we're proposing to do. This area is going to be roughly 20 native shrubs proposed within this area. It's a relatively small area, but because of the surrounding nature and existing vegetation, the exact location of these 20 shrubs will be decided during installation. In between these native shrubs, we plan to introduce some of the native grasses to infill the area of these shrubs. And again, we are only going from an existing setback to the top of the bank from 85 feet to 84 feet. So the new corner of the addition is roughly just moving 1 foot closer to the top of the bank, but still staying on the outer aura of these buffer zones. That's essentially the project at hand. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer.
You said, go ahead, Eric, I know you have to leave, that there's a coverage table. I can't find it. I was just looking again. I don't have that in my packet. I just looked online. I don't see it. Where did you find it, Janet?
It's just, it's in the, just in the application, the table. It's, yeah, that one, exactly.
Yeah, but
It's in the town, it's in the town
Did you have it?
narrative.
Town NOI.
The town NOI, yep, that's where I found it.
So yeah, this is a table that is part of the supplemental
Right.
Chatham Notice of Intent application packet. And
It's
that's the
helpful to
table.
have these figures on the site plan, so
But
we can look at them right there.
I gotta tell
Otherwise,
you,
yeah,
it's not in my application that was provided in paper. I just went
Page
through it
5 of
twice.
7? Page 5 of the
4?
town NOI.
5.
Is that the town or the?
What do you mean? No,
There's
this
two-
is
there's
what,
two
yeah, but
narratives, one
no.
for the town, one for the state.
We got just one. So we didn't get the right stuff.
The line items are also on the plan as line items, not as a table. Under project statistics,
The
Under what?
line items on the,
All the way to the right. Oh,
Yeah,
project
but-
statistics, okay.
okay. Well, we like to see existing and proposed. I do see it, but, and then with the table you showed, if you had that on the plan, that'd be terrific. But I guess you've provided all this, I just didn't receive it. So, I do see a second town NOI, which I don't have. Didn't get. And I didn't come in our packets. So, okay. Does it have the percentage of coverage in the,
No.
within
It
the
just
outer
has-
aura?
It just has
Yeah.
this.
So, but nowhere else. I mean, we need a percentage of coverage in the outer aura. That's one of our requirements. And as far as mitigation, you know, and you saying we will provide it after things have been done, that's not going to fly. We need a mitigation plan. We need to be able to see what's going in, because that's part of our approval. You've applied for a variance in order to approve the variance, and you did give alternatives, I mean, but in order to approve the variance, we need to say they've provided adequate mitigation of this, and this. And I can't do that with just saying plants are going to go in someplace, you know, in here, and, you know, 100 square feet is of lawn, but I don't see.
Yep. It's a good area, it's the right place to do
Yeah.
mitigation, but you can, and maybe Katrine can do this, and she's doing the restoration, blow that little section up and show which native plants are going where. Size, density, I mean, the usual thing
Number.
that we see, number. I mean, you have 20, but you don't say how many of the chokeberry, how many of the sweet, you need to know exactly the number, the size, and where they're going on a plan.
So if I could clarify that, so the plan does have a mitigation planting note that calls out the number of species that are proposed?
It says 20 shrubs.
20 shrubs.
Right.
Number 3 black chokeberry, does that mean there's 3? I couldn't make any sense out of that, whether there was 3
That's the
chokeberries, 1 Carolina
the
rose.
sizes. The number 3 is the size of the shrub.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it doesn't say how many of the chokeberry, how many of the Carolina rose, how many of the sweet ferns, and how they're going to be placed.
It's such a small area.
I know,
So, I
it's-
mean, it would be 5 black chokeberries, 7 rose.
We
and
just
8
need the detail.
Just need it on the plan so that when certificate of
You know, with
compliance
little-
time comes, somebody just does the counting and says it's right.
Yeah. So that, yeah, when you go for a COC, they have the plan.
Yep.
And it's all together. I don't like to put things on our agents after the fact, and that they're going, because they'll come back to us saying, I need you to approve this. So you would be filing an amendment or something anyway, so this will relieve that from happening. I mean, I'm sure, since you know pretty much how many are going in, you can say, I want to do, 7 of this or 5 of that. Just so we have something. And it could be on the same plan. It doesn't really matter that much. Anybody else?
One quick question. The coverage table says there's 77 square feet of coverage existing in the NDZ. I don't see anything on the site plan that could, where is that? What is that?
So what's existing inside the 0 to 50, there is an existing deck and a crushed stone path to it.
Oh, it's the path, okay, because the deck is on the coastal bank, it's not in the NDZ, it's below the coastal bank. I assume that deck is permitted and.
Yeah, we need to know that everything's been permitted.
So one of the early things that we went back and forth with the town permit coordinator was showing evidence of what was there, dating back to the 1940s. So from aerial images and from recorded plans from the 1940s, showing that there was a boardwalk or a path that went all the way to the water. At some point, the continuation all the way to the water was no longer kept. And then this is what happened. At that point was somewhere after the 1970s, but we don't have exact information of that. That's when the town permit coordinator informed us that they were not going to take jurisdiction for zoning board. But that information was provided to them. And there was an earlier question. The amount of existing development on hardscape in the outer comes out to be about 6% of the total outer aura on the site. I know it was not depicted on the plans, but it's roughly a small square footage. This site, if you've seen the site, is almost 3 acres in size. Half of it is within the buffer zones. The outer aura, which is from the 50 to 100, straddles over 330 linear feet along this property.
Right. I'm not saying that I think you're over 35%. I'm saying we just need it it's a requirement. So I'm not saying that there's an issue. I just want to see it. So thank you. Elise, anything? Nope. Janet, anything else?
Nope. Deck, that's it.
Bob?
Just got a couple of things. Where the mitigation area is planned, the planting area, next to it is Rosa rugosa. And that travels by rhizomes. And do you see a problem with that, Katrine?
That would have to be maintained. And I think the larger goal of this property, the rugosa because it's non-native, will probably be removed. But yeah, you're exactly right. And it would have to, if this was the only thing that was planted on the property, we would have to maintain that rugosa out of the mitigation area. But the overall goal, it'll be gone.
Okay. And, is there any new landscaping planned, any additional plants planned around the modifications besides lawn?
So yes, the planting beds that are there, they're going to be completely removed.
Right.
They're going to restore planting beds with a 75% native species.
Right.
Right, but anyplace else?
Any other plants
There's no
going in?
proposal anywhere else.
No other plants going in then? Around the foundation or anything like that? Okay.
Okay.
And the current lawn is non-irrigated, is that correct?
I saw an irrigation head.
Oh, you did?
I believe
It just hasn't been
irrigated.
running?
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been running.
Yeah, okay, so there is irrigation there now, okay.
But we'll say no new irrigation, so
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, that's all I had, thanks for now.
All right. Janet?
That's it.
All right, then we're going to need to continue this. So how about September 24th? Yeah?
If I could just interject a little. I do know that an abutter submitted a letter into the record.
Oh, I don't think I have that either, so let me look. Usually I catch those.
And just a recap, I did
There
receive a
is.
copy.
I'll read it in, so I will read it in. This is for 552 Shore Road. I'm a butter of the applicant's property at 594 Shore Road. I am in favor of the applicant's proposed changes to the property, but have the following suggestion. There have been 2 water main breaks on Shore Road opposite the applicant's property in the past 3 years, and a third just north of the property. In each of the breaks opposite the applicant's property, the flow from the break flooded the applicant's turnaround area in front of the house and garage, and via the bulkhead stairs flooded both basements in the house up to the level of the basement windows prior to the water being shut off. The site plan in the applicant's submission does not propose any changes to mitigate the risks inherent in the possible future water main break. Given that the applicant proposes demolishing the existing garage, they may wish to consider including changes that would prevent water from a water break or severe downpour from being able to flood the basements a third time. And this is from George W. Chain, 594 Shore Road in Chatham. So thank you for telling me that that existed. I had not caught that. And I do know you have a national heritage as well. So, yes, go ahead.
So, like Michael Ford informed, the current owner just recently purchased the property,
Right.
and he engaged a team of consultants to deal with this. This is news information to all of us, so we did forwarded that letter to the rest of the team, and we do understand that this is something that we need to proactively design for. We can't do anything about the water main on the road breaking, but knowing that any flow that comes out of any break in the water main comes into this property, we'll take that into account for the rest of the development that's happening on the front side of the property. And something else.
Which is out of our jurisdiction.
Right,
also.
it's just for the overall project, we acknowledge receipt of that, and it's helpful information for us. And if the reason for continuing is to detail the mitigation planting.
Correct.
If the commission is willing to allow us to just continue for an order of condition, that we submit the landscape plan this week.
Well, you wouldn't get an order until toward the end of September anyway. How does everybody feel about going to an order? I mean, we haven't seen the coverage percentage. I'm sure it's fine, but still. We
So-
got the mitigation we need.
We're going to specify the plantings, the locations.
When are we thinking for the
deck
order?
Not
permitted.
till the 24th.
The 24th?
Because we have,
Do
Yeah,
that.
if they get everything in,
I
then
think we could do
we
that.
could do it.
does
We-
everybody agree we can go to an order?
We
That-
need, so Katrine, the whole banking will be,
No, no,
No,
No, that's the end of October.
oh, I see.
That's separate.
Well, that's separate, okay.
They're committing to, that's a violation. It's separated out because they want to start the work as soon as possible. So that's why they're pushing for an order so quickly. So if everybody is fine with going to an order, but I want that plan in very soon because we have a lot of orders coming up.
We can get that this week.
Okay. All right, then we will go to an order on September 24th.
I move that we continue 554 Shore Road to September 24th, 2025 for an order of conditions.
Oh, Eric's not here. Can somebody
Oh,
second it?
Second.
Bob,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
And Paul.
Aye.
And I say aye. And just, Crystal, for your information, Eric had to leave at 4:15, because you'll need to note that. Okay, Bradford, next thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone actually on the.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No, he
wait a
doesn't have a
minute.
hand up or anything.
Is there a hand up? No. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah, he's showing himself, but he's not. Okay, Bradford, next.
Okay, moving on to certificates of compliance. The first one we have is for 54 Harbor View Lane, Dune Foster, trustee, map 16I, parcel 21, SE 10, 2014, proposed deck removal, expansion, and second floor dormer with mitigation.
Okay, hi.
Hi there. First of all, a shout out to your video department. They warned me of a thunderstorm so I could put my top up
A thunderstorm.
Yeah, it's
in
coming
about 20
any
minutes. So
moment.
if you guys have your windows
Let's go,
open.
get moving.
I have my moonroof open, but that's fine.
It's a
Because we're going to be quick.
We're gonna be quick.
Because it's
Okay.
now 4:30 and we're all tired.
All right, well, it's probably starting in 10 minutes.
Well, we're going to be done.
Okay.
I'm not kidding, we're going to be quick.
Okay.
These are
I will
COCs, so.
be quick. This one, we submitted a letter. I had Lynn Hamlin do a planting inventory. And basically, the plants that are there, some of them don't match what was on the original
Right.
list. My opinion, it's my opinion, but is that the buffer that's there is robust, it's serving its function, albeit down to the finest detail. It's not all the plants that were anticipated to be there were there. The owner is online for any historic questions,
I
but he's
see.
told me that the hydrangeas have been there all along, before the revetment was ever put in, so they're not a factor in the mitigation plantings. I'm assuming the mitigation plantings were planted seaward of that, and there's other plants there, so if you've been there, I mean, it's a robust buffer. While not perfectly matching the plan, we would hope there's some flexibility there and that you would accept the certificate as applied for.
I'd like to get the agent's opinion, because we talked about it yesterday, but go
Yeah.
ahead, Bradford.
So I don't believe that the, sorry. Close all the tabs. Sorry, trying to multitask. I don't believe that those plantings were there originally. I have a picture from 2006 when they requested a COC in the previously. So you can see that there were no hydrangeas or the bayberry present. This existing, I'm sorry, I am not sharing my screen. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Frame. And so the plantings that are there that Lynn mentioned, the Virginia rose and stuff like that, I do feel is more connected to that revetment work rather than the proposed deck modifications. So currently what we saw in the photos that you provided was the hydrangeas as well as bayberry. You mentioned in the COC request that there was some vista pruning and maintenance of a path between those Virginia roses and the bayberry to maintain that hedge.
And from what I see from Bradford's notes that were provided to me, the vista pruning was never approved by the commission, nor was the path, maintained path for the hedge maintenance was never approved.
The path was there for limiting the reach of the invasive bittersweet into the mitigated stuff.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to identify yourself if you're speaking.
I'm John
Thank you.
Foster. I'm a property owner with Newton Foster. My wife is the trustee of the trust owning it.
Thank you.
That path was also put there to try and keep the bittersweet that grows on the bank there from reaching across and invading the bayberry.
Okay.
It's not we were not aware that you had to have a VISTA approval. If there was nothing said about VISTA maintenance, I didn't realize that or ask if it does mean that VISTA maintenance is prohibited if the notice is silent to that.
Yeah, and since we have an open order with this application, we could amend the order perhaps at a later date to include vista pruning of the bayberry. By the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension, if they're let to go, looks like it says they get 9 feet tall. That's tall. But we could address that later. It doesn't have to be
And
addressed now.
Can you say why only bayberry was planted, not what was approved, which was also beach plum, bearberry, black chokeberry, sweet, for a variety?
Right.
It's good to have variety, and it seems just one thing was planted.
John would have to answer that. I don't have that historical knowledge.
Yeah, that area, it's just, the whole area there runs the length of the deck that was installed. So it just was, with the landscapers, they just suggested putting in that one wall of bayberry, since it kind of matched the outline of the deck.
But it wasn't what was in the order. I'm going to let
I don't think the
commissioners
order-
give.
I don't think the order said it had to be a mix of things.
What was that?
I don't know. He said it wasn't
I don't
specified
believe,
in
you
the
know,
order.
this is 20 years ago, so everybody's going to be hazy.
Yeah. Commissioners, your opinions? Do we care?
No, I mean, Bayberry, it's always better, it's healthier to have a mix, a monoculture is never as good. But Bayberry is a fine choice for that area, so I'm not bothered by that.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more bothered by,
Vista?
yeah, so I guess we're gonna put something in all orders from now on that says unless it's specifically permitted, you cannot cut these things.
Right, that can be an ongoing condition for the certificate.
Yes,
Agreed.
yes.
And if we approve this, it is, an ongoing condition will be that there will be no vista pruning unless approved in a future order.
Absolutely, right.
Because that will ensure that you come back and add that into the other application, because I don't want it to just fall by the wayside. All right, then I think we can have a motion.
I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 54 Harborview Lane with amendments as discussed.
Okay, second? Anybody?
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, Bradford, and you can do the next two together,
Okay.
because they're both the same address.
The next two are for 42 Harborview Lane, Keith Sharon, 2012 Qualified Trust, map 16I, parcel M2, SC 103385, proposed drainage improvements, and SC 102701, proposed removal of invasive species and replant with native species.
Okay, and I believe your recommendation is to approve as it was applied with the ongoing conditions that were specified?
Yes.
Do you have something you want to add?
Nope.
Good. All right.
I move that we approve the 2 certificates of compliance for 42 Harborview Lane.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, next one, Bradford.
The next,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is for 83 Seagull Road and 30 Wickus Way, Outermost Harbor Marina, maps 15A1 and 15A3, parcels H98 and US1, SE 103233 for dredging. I also did not have any issues with this one, except
Great.
for the ongoing conditions.
Excellent. Then, anybody have any questions or comments? And I see you're on. Did you have something you wanted to say? Because we're getting ready to approve it. So is there something?
I know.
Nope, I was
Okay.
just here
All
for the
right.
record, Hannah Rabbit.
Just wanted to make
wetland
sure
scientist with
because
PSD.
we see you, so I figured you wanted to speak. Okay, Elise?
Nope, just wanted to let you know that I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
I have to say it. We've been here so long that Hannah has changed her hairstyle.
Yes. Okay, now.
All right. I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 83 Seagull Road and 30 Wickies Way, Outermost Harbor Marina.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, last one, please.
All right, the last
But
one
then
is
we have,
113 Sea Pine Road, Brian Gorzinski, map 11K, parcel 32-HC10, SE 10-3536, sand nourishment and planting activities. I was in, I'm not sure if they're on, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
was.
here. I'm
Okay,
here.
great.
Just listening, thank you.
if you just let Bradford finish speaking, please. I don't know who's trying to speak.
All right. Bob Perry in silence.
So their initial COC request did not include any nourishment in perpetuity. I reached out for some clarification on if they would
Right.
like that. And I believe they were open to having a condition for ongoing nourishment. I talked to Catherine, and she suggested some sort of thin layer placement of approximately, 6 inches of sand cover just to keep those stones covered.
And are they supposed to notify the Conservation Office before they do nourishment?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be part of the ongoing condition. Is that okay, Bob? Guess I lost him.
He's muted, probably.
You can speak now if you want, Bob. Okay, well then, we are going to have a motion, please.
I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 113 Sea Pine Road as amended.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next item is our discussion for October, but I think given that Eric had to leave and the time, I think we should table it till the first meeting in September, even though, because we've gotten past this meeting. So I think what we'll do is put it on the first agenda item for the September 10th, so that we'll know how many meetings we're having in October to continue properties to. So.
And the other thing is, excuse me, Karen, the last thing in the world you want to do is take a vote on that after a 5-hour meeting.
Exactly. So we are tabling it, and I don't think we have to vote to table it. And we will bring it up, thanks, Paul, for the first agenda item on the 10th of September. So then we just need one more item.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I say aye.
It's gonna rain in about
Get
2
better,
minutes.
Paul.
Let's go.